Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Donning now with the new uniform. Tonight in San Jose, it's an Arizona story. Tommy Lloyd and the Arizona Wildcats are headed to the Final Four.
And he said, I love playing for him. And you got to imagine they're going to show up in a big way next week. May, in Chicago.
Man, it's ride or die. Well, and to that point too, DB, that's what makes it so great is you can bring guys in.
Here goes Jamal Rule, by the way. Searles across midfield. He might go all the way down the sideline. 25-20. He is gone. Touchdown. Jamal Rule, welcome to Memorial Stadium. Hopefully the first of many. Second and 10. 13 seconds. Kalen takes the snap, hands it off to Booth. Angles left. There he goes. Booth to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Connor Booth with a spring game dagger.
I thought it was a really good vibe out there today. Great crowd. Sorry to hold you guys. Just want to make sure you signed all the kids' pictures at the tunnel walk. Grateful for everyone that took their time to come out here and be a part of a good day. Sends a great message to our players. Sends a great message to the recruits. We have really an amazing group of recruits, but more importantly, just come together, celebrate our state, celebrate the university, celebrate the football team, and all the hard work that we've done. And so I'm proud of the guys. I thought they had a really good spring. I thought it looked like football out there.
Welcome in, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So that makes sense because I missed the very first part of that because I was still trying to commandeer softball tickets, which I didn't end up doing for that part of the press conference.
Of why it was so late?
Yeah, because what was I just telling you off air?
It was a little lengthy post-game situation.
We were carrying the post-game after a spring game for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like...
That was entertaining.
We got the great Josh Hilkeman in our ear, and we're just playing it by ear because he can see the podium. He can hear the audio, and he's kind of like...
So he's just giving you the proverbial stretch, baby. We got to keep going.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, and I mean... The cool thing is if the best way to do a spring game, in my opinion, is to have as many people that know like players or have been a part of like press conferences or storylines, because it's not really the football. So it's a tough broadcast.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a really but anything is easier than what we did last year. So
for sure.
It's like, she's like, God, if we could pull that off, she's like, suck it up, you guys.
I mean, it's much closer to a real game than last year, for sure.
But that was the spring game is for, to see who's on the comm and stuff like that. So the carrying a 30-minute post game after that gives us a chance to talk about,
break things down a little bit.
Yeah, just about anything that we've seen. But
I imagine Jamal Rule was a topic of conversation.
Yeah. I feel so. I'm kind of, for as crappy as this weekend was and a lot of other facets, I kind of feel good about a few things.
Okay. What do we got? Hold on. Let me guess.
Go ahead.
I've got a couple.
Yeah. So this goes across multiple sports.
Yeah. Football, basketball.
All right. Do I need my pen and paper?
Yep.
I have a new fancy. It's not fancy.
You have a new notebook?
Everybody got them. Yeah. From the coaches clinic.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that bad boy.
Nice.
Hey, I don't know if you guys know this. This is an X's and O, and it spreads across the state of Nebraska. Hey, make sure you're dialing up good plays. What are you putting in that X's and O playbook? Come on, Nebraska. I don't like your offense. What are you showing me? Didn't get vertical in the passing game. A quarterback doesn't have a very good arm. This is ho-hum.
Just kidding.
Is that...
I don't even know who that was.
I was gonna say.
So I just like different people.
Okay.
I don't.
Was it
same 4 or 5
amalgamation?
Yeah, same 4 or 5 voices. So I figured I'd throw you for a loop with another one.
All right. Here's what you.
What am I happy about? Good morning, Juan.
Here's what you're.
Juan, let's have some takaya.
Here's what you're happy about. You're happy about. You felt good about Jamal Rule.
Yep. Called that one.
I'm sure there's more from the spring game, but I'm gonna hop sports here.
Oh, there's one more.
Quinn Clark.
Feel good about that one.
Quinn Clark. Yeah, that was nasty.
Oh.
That's number 2. Is that all from the spring game?
No, but that's good enough.
Okay. Your two things.
What is it about the run game that I've been honking about?
Oh, that they were good at they're good to go running back.
Counter.
Oh, counter. Gotcha. Okay.
Adding the angles. It doesn't sound like much. I know I'm being like this super dork, but as a guy that loves SC's run game and loves Jeep Wade, and now you put him with a certifiable creative dude like Holgerson. You know, I'm telling you, we said this in the pregame, and shame on you if you didn't listen to a spring game pregame show. I mean, why the flip wouldn't you?
For 2.5 hours?
Just 2.
Okay.
Let's not overdo it.
My bad.
Team sarcastic this morning.
2.5 would be overkill.
I was talking with Searles and Jess about how this could be a year where you literally can count numbers in the box like you always should, but with mobile quarterbacks,
it evens the numbers out.
And when you can run the ball in 2 minutes. And this is just an innocuous talking things that I had seen how they had run 2 minutes, and sure enough, they did it in the spring game.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
Yeah,
but I like the run game.
Okay.
But anyway, carry on, my weird.
We're gonna switch over to college basketball now. Number one,
I did get a new diary.
Number one, Duke's guards were going to be a problem or lack thereof.
Said it all year.
You also said that Duke can really turn your water off, which they did for sections of that game.
Yeah.
They can defend at a super high level.
When they sit down and guard, I mean, best wishes.
So that was right about both those things in the Duke game. You were also honking early in most of the year on Illinois and UConn being capable of winning a national championship.
Correct. I feel really good about those things.
So those are in a pretty good spot. One of those two teams will play for the national title. So that's about as good as you can get there.
And what a weird setup, right? Because I don't know if you go way back to November, but sitting around waiting for, was it right after Black Friday or right before? Illinois played UConn.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So this is strange. So this game, the Final Four will have two teams that played each other, and each previous game will look nothing like this one.
Yeah.
Because when Illinois played UConn the first time,
it was on Black Friday.
Yeah, because I remember I had anxiety because of the Iowegians. Isn't that like my triggers are weird?
No, but it's easier if you remember how you feel in a moment.
I knew what was going on. I knew what was going on that day
to get the context.
So,
I get that.
So, Wagler barely played.
Yeah,
like that wasn't that Illinois team, and UConn certainly wasn't like that on offense, because for as much as you guys get on me about how bad solo ball is and why, because they have solo ball, they can't win. He's far exceeded being able to coach around solo ball.
Yes, well, he gave himself other options this year.
He doesn't, and we kept making a big
with
solo ball. They can't do this with solo.
With Demery and Mullins.
I was like Demery's added like 8 percentage points to him shooting the three, and you've got a freshman now that can come around. So he doesn't really need ball. So that game will look vastly different.
My concern would be with that is that solo ball. Like there were parts of the game yesterday where I felt like solo ball was inserting himself into situations that he should not insert himself.
So you're gonna get that.
No, I know.
He almost decision. He almost decision make them right out of that first half.
He did, yes.
With his shot selection, and Duke was like, "Okay, young fella, go ahead and shoot that thing."
Especially when Reed is just
we will blow
eating people.
Yeah, we will blow your doors off.
Yeah,
and we will concede giving points to Terrace Reed in the paint. Yes. And he was like, "Oh, I think I'll oblige."
Yeah.
Then I think Hurley got in his cakes a little bit.
And he's like, "Hey, we're not gonna do that anymore.
Shut that bleep down." Okay, needs to get the ball to the other people. So, and the other part of the three greatest halves I saw in all of college basketball this year was the half when Michigan did their thing.
Oh, first half. Yes. Yeah. That's what Michigan looked like in like December when we were like, "Oh my God, Michigan!"
Yeah.
When they're just beating people by 30 and 40 every night.
It's like, but I So I'm telling you guys, I'm super tickled about two things. Number one, I am fascinated to see Brad Underwood and Bobby Hurley work Dan Hurley work the sidelines.
Yeah, that's
what Underwood does on the sidelines is grossly underappreciated.
Okay.
Anytime you get a chance to pan out of where the ball is actually going and watch Underwood, he's constantly working. I know they panned it to him once and he's sitting on the goddamn bench with his head like this, but the game was like, I don't know, 21-12, and he's probably like, we'll never be this bad again. And, you know, so then they got it going, but normally he's working, and we've seen Hurley. You watch him, if you zoom out on the last minute in that game yesterday, he's incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's saying. I'm just watching the mannerisms and body language and then trying to see. You ever just like unfocus your eyes where you just see like figures and that?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see how that all fits together. I'm rewinding it.
I thought, honestly, with the Hurley thing, I was more impressed by his activity when they were down 19.
100%.
Because he was literally just willing his team, like, hey, we're not giving up here.
And he kept talking to the crowd. He's like,
help me out here.
Help me out.
Yeah.
So
help me out here.
I was like, I know you get mad at me for liking him, but he just.
I mean, listen, he's a phenomenal coach. I don't like him as personality.
I know.
He's a phenomenal
coach.
I
still want you to watch this. He's a psycho. I'm not mad that you don't like him, because I do think, unless you're like cracking ginger ales or you know, talking, shoot, I'd let him like have my kids for a couple years and then give them back to me and see what they're like. Like that's okay.
I mean, I don't have kids, so that's hard for me to.
You couldn't see that?
I wouldn't let him watch my dogs.
Well, he's not a dog kicker, I don't think.
I don't know, man. Anybody's got temper like that? Like I just have, like I don't know what to do.
Now he does give me early morning, go to the gym, fuzzy teeth, smelling like old pasta water vibes. You don't get that.
I get what you're saying. I was not prepared for old pasta water. I didn't have that on my
you know, like
old pasta water got you. He got me with fuzzy teeth.
You know what I'm talking
like
about.
He hasn't brushed yet.
No, I know. No, I know what you're talking about. It just sounds funny.
I've definitely seen fuzzy teeth guy at the gym. Like I know exactly what you're talking about.
As if you know, I have issues, but he gives me old Italian house smell.
Okay.
Fuzzy teeth vibes, but he could rock.
Gotta keep watering the bamboo.
Exactly. He could hang out with the dogs and kids.
I don't know, man.
I know.
Listen, phenomenal basketball coach. Don't like his personality. Like that's not a guy that I could play for. Like that style of coaching doesn't resonate with me at all. I'd be like, why are you yelling all the time, man?
So, Rico, well, you both do. Unconventionally, not typical split households like I have, but in split households of a culmination of
different cultures.
Yeah, cultural groups.
Yeah, I got you.
You guys know what it's like when do you season your water? You wouldn't know.
I have no idea. I don't
Suave,
cook.
do you season your water? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So the water has to taste like the ocean.
Okay. Damn. So you know what I mean when I say
salty.
Like season.
No, I know what you meant by pasta water.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still funny. I just didn't expect to hear that this morning.
Yeah, and Juan, you'd be happy to know. Sometimes when I make my Mexican rice, I use pollo de something capitan in this nice little green tube, and I get my seasoned rice game right when I'm soaking it. Juan would be proud of me. Hopefully that gets me a shot of taquilla. I'm just trying to be nice and playing to your strengths, Juan. I'm sorry if I'm overstepping.
Juan says, I'll rephrase first to you, TK. Is noodle juice better than wiener juice? I assume he means hot dog water. We were talking about that last week.
So, hey, listen, I'm telling you, I would have rocked with hot dog water if I boiled my hot dogs. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, a lot of people boil their hot dogs.
But I don't have it. And you know my sense of smell is like a goddamn wolf.
Especially, I think people with kids, a lot of times they're not grilling those hot dogs. They're throwing them in the water, you know, a lot of times.
Yeah. Zoe figured out this weekend she actually likes red hot dogs.
I mean,
I said, hey, you know they buy those in the store.
Yeah, they have them. Yeah, you can buy Fairbury in the store.
So is that the brand? I thought it was
Fairbury's the brand, right, Rico?
Who's the fat guy that sold the brake pads? I thought isn't it Tommy Boy? What's the brand?
Fairbury. That's the name of that's the name.
Isn't there another brand, something boy that has? I know where they come from.
It's Callahan Auto Parts is the brand.
But I can see, listen, you guys don't. I might be screwing this up. What? You know I'm going to say something stupid, so you're already laughing.
No,
I can visualize a hot dog pack and they're red and it's something boy. Then no, not black boy, because I will slap the
I wasn't even gonna go there.
Yes, you were.
No, I really wasn't.
Yes, you were.
No, I believe it's not only the name of the town. I believe the brand name is also Fairbury.
I understand Fairbury.
You saying there's another Tomboy?
Tomboy.
He's gonna go. I thought you were gonna go high five Rico. So we got Tomboy. That's the name? There's red hot dogs that are Tomboy.
It's Fairbury. It's still like the Fairbury brand hot dogs, but it's Tomboy because they're fatter ones.
Thank you.
Yeah, they come in like a 6-pack or whatever.
Somebody, well, I'm not gonna say somebody with some sense in this particular moment, Rico. Thank you, because you're looking at me like I was special.
I'd never seen those before.
And you're like, it's Fairbury. And I'm like, oh, I know that, but there's a brand. And I knew it was Tommy Boy. See how I landed the plane with the brake pads, dude?
See how I landed the plane? Dude? That got me. I don't know why.
It's Monday. It's fine. I don't know.
I just like how like you were literally like 2 letters off. Tommy Boy, Tomboy, like you were right there, but you couldn't come up with Tommy Boy. All you could come up with was brake pads. So that means when you see these, you don't think Tommy Boy, you think brake pads.
I couldn't because okay, it's fine. I get how I think, but I knew the red hot dogs originated in Fairbury.
Yeah,
but that's not the brand name that I was thinking of that I was seeing.
Right.
But I think still Fairbury. It's just
I get where they come from, fellas.
No, we were separating when you were saying brand, you meant like the specific type.
Yeah, and I almost let you guys talk me off of
is still Fairbury.
I almost let you guys talk me off of
because I mean it literally says brand right there under Fairbury.
Oh God, I hate your guts. He gets to come in and drop the mic. Making fun of the tomboy thing when he wouldn't even acknowledge that it was a possibility.
I had never heard of it. This is the first time I've heard of tomboy hot
That's
dogs.
called being a prick opportunist.
I mean, I'm not going to deny that.
He's coming in and like sweep. Oh, my chilies. He cut them. It's fine.
Aiden chilies?
Yeah, I said that last week. I think I said Chillis.
You said Chillis
because it made me think of my boy Jeff Chillis. It's okay. This is a fascinating weekend, man. It's gonna be great. DB don't put that on me. Nope.
Don't put that crap on me.
I don't even really eat hot dogs like that. Now, in the inside house freezer, not outside.
Mm-hmm.
One section is
so not like the meat freezer.
One section, yeah. There's other things like
it's like your normal freezer.
Yeah, my vacuum sealed hash browns. And stuff. So, but one side is the pork side. So it has the pork stuff.
Okay.
But it's mostly sausages. It's not. There's not one thing of hot dogs on that.
Yeah,
side.
you're not. You don't eat a lot of hot dogs. I know that.
No, and we may get Zoe back on it. I hope. You know, I ask her what she wants for dinner, and she says rice and rolls. Like, we got to get out of that.
She's just doubling up on the carbs, huh?
Next to something I used to breathe. That's not a plant.
Rice and rolls.
Dude, she can eat the heck out of rice.
Never mind.
A woman after my own heart.
Nah,
no, rice is good. I like rice.
I do not.
Yeah.
It's a staple.
You don't eat a lot of carbs.
No, but there's ones I like.
Yeah, you like potatoes.
Yeah.
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 Rice and potatoes very big in one half of my culture.
economically efficient. Let's say that.
I mean, you're trying to feed 1 billion people, you know. Gotta do what you gotta do.
What you said.
Also, not a lot of meat products and culturally in a lot of those, you know.
Well, as you can see, protein's expensive.
I mean, when you think
I no to hot dogs, but vacuum seal. It's for my kids, Corn Raider. I vacuum seal the corn dogs for my kids. It's fine. You got see. I'm just trying to have nice sports talk this morning. You guys just won't let me. Brake pads.
What do you mean?
By the way,
yeah.
Was it Tar Feet? What was? So there's a publication that is affiliated with Carolina, and I felt like it between you, Ant Wright, because Ant Wright had the tweet. I feel like this is the obligatory make Brad Stevens say no.
I'll be honest, I don't get that.
So Brad Stevens and Jay Wright were in this write-up. But the Jay Wright thing doesn't surprise me because
Jay Wright makes more sense to me than
people
Brad
that I
Stevens.
think know what they're talking about there. Contrary to when we have him on the show, Shane, in our former life, and I have a maybe a little disparaging remark about Roy Williams, and he proceeds to kill me.
Roy was pretty good.
What did I say? I said, I think he's okay, but and he was like, whoa.
You know, Roy Williams has more natties than Dean Smith, right?
Shane, what year was that? 17, 18, 16 maybe?
Yeah, like 16.
16 would have been before the third one. I get that.
Yeah.
You were probably still mad about the Nova game.
Nope, hadn't happened yet.
Okay, so it had been before that.
Yeah, hadn't happened yet. And so then it turned into 15 minutes about, and I had to like dovetail out of that thing.
Getting your hand slapped about.
Oh, yeah.
Roy Williams is pretty good, man. I get in the moment how you could be frustrated with.
I'm not going to make this Carolina radio. Roy Williams was really good. We were talking as though he was elite. I don't know about that. I will listen. I'm not listening. I'm not going to die on the Roy Williams hill. If you want him to be elite, he's elite.
I'm just saying 3 titles in the modern era is pretty hard to do.
What do you mean?
I mean,
he would have definitely no idea.
Everybody thinks Tom Izzo's elite, and he's still sitting on 1 from a quarter century ago. So I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, I guess you make him say no, but from what I hear, they're going to have. They will have the hire in the next 7 to 10 days, so they must know who they want.
Well, yeah, it's as soon as Tommy Lloyd wins his national championship. He's not going to announce before that.
Well, wouldn't that be something?
I asked the question. I was like, would you really leave after winning a national championship? But
yeah, it's the perfect time.
So yeah, because nobody can be mad at you. It's like when LeBron left Cleveland again after the title. Like he's like, hey, we got what we came for. I can leave now and we're cool, and nobody cared. Everybody's like, yeah, we're cool, thank you. Yeah. Like I think it was Jeff Borzello, I think it was doing a video. It was talking about, hey, he doesn't think Dusty May is going to be interested. He likes Michigan. Michigan has money, but he's talking about how Arizona doesn't have the money people think.
I would agree.
And
I would agree.
I
used to know their old athletic director before he went to Bama.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Byrne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
That makes sense. So
they could barely get the College World Series. Yeah, I would agree.
So when you've got the level of players he's gotten without the money that everybody else has, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like imagine the work he could do at Carolina. That's unreal.
So I'm a super child, and I cannot wait because he drives me up the wall. If Yaxo laughs during another presser,
dude, it's super weird.
He's unlikable.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Because what was the last? It was Duke, right? When he was like talking about guarding Cam.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did it again this weekend.
Yeah,
They're like, hey, Yaxel, you step back, you hit the step back 3, and you. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I feel disrespected when you put a freshman on me, bro. You're going to be 24.
Yeah.
Chill with that.
You know what's disrespectful is like you look like you should have a mortgage and you're playing against a kid that was in high school.
But to his credit, though, he is way better right now.
Yes.
Than he was in December, and way better than the guy they got from the mid-major. So
was it New Mexico?
No, it was.
Where was he at? I thought he was.
No, he was a. He was a Mac guy. Am I?
Why did I?
Don't do the whole tomboy, Tommy boy thing.
No, I'm looking
he's
it up.
given
I'm
me.
looking it
He was a Mac guy.
No, UAB.
Okay.
UAB.
All right. Bible Belt, Mac, same thing.
I don't know.
Give or take 400 miles.
I was on the opposite side of the country, but I knew below the Mason-Dixon.
I got the tie. Ready? I was thinking rustic belt. It was really Bible Belt.
Oh.
It was the whole. See, it's back to belts.
Big belt guy.
Hey, belts and brake pads.
Tomboy.
Did you see that?
Got something wrong with your elbow? You all right? You showing me the cuts on your fingers again?
No, those things are.
They starting to heal up?
Yeah.
No, I mean, if I'm Carolina, it's like I don't understand the Brad Stevens thing at all. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't. I get he's a phenomenal coach. He hasn't done this in college for a really long time, and literally everything has changed. He never recruited at a super high level because he wasn't – that's not where he was, right? He recruited well for where he was at, but he was never tasked with walking into the home of a top 20 guy and figuring out how to talk to him. Coaching in the NBA is way different than coaching in college, especially now.
No, I believe you. I think we're out on the Brad Stevens thing. I just thought it was interesting.
It feels like the same thing. You know how everybody was like, oh, you got to talk to Cower after Cower retired and for like 15 years. And it's like, he hasn't done this for a really long time now.
Yeah.
Like he may not be the best option anymore. I get he was for a handful of years after he retired, but like that's a really long time. That sort of gap has worked basically once ever, I think, with Dick Vermeil. Like it didn't work with Joe Gibbs, didn't work with who's the Arthur guy that from the Art Shell for the Raiders.
Arthur, I was thinking Dudley Moore.
I was thinking with the
you probably have never even seen that, so that's not funny.
I haven't, but that's all right. But like the long gaps
or the little aardvark.
Yeah, I was thinking the angry fists. Like there's just no.
No, he didn't, Heath.
No, not.
He's not even fit. Like we're way wrong on that one. I think he's good.
Yeah, I
think Mac's good.
I think my guy's gonna go play some golf.
Dude, coaching college basketball is really, really hard, and it's vastly different. For Creighton, it's vastly different than it was 2 years ago.
So here's the funny thing, and I said this when they went to the Big East too.
He said Kobe is.
That was actually a good hire by ASU.
Yeah,
Randy Bennett. That's a great.
It's a great hire.
Great hire.
Yeah, that's a good hire.
Like really good hire. Plus, he brought in the head coach from Cal Baptist, who's got a 4-star son, so that never hurts.
Does anybody know more about Cal Baptist than the dude you're sitting next to? And that's who I wanted Nebraska to open with in the tournament. I remember, I was like, "Come on, man! If they're a 3, I think Cal Baptist is going to be a 14. It'll be the most winnable 14, man." I was pee-pee tucking a little.
Yeah, Troy was fine.
Well, you didn't know they were going to be a 4 at that point.
No, I didn't. You know what's funny though is
nice delivery. Troy was fine.
I've actually been to Cal Baptist.
God bless your hindsight, freaking 2020.
Who was sitting here telling you the whole time like Troy was not a problem?
No, who was in agreement with you?
Yeah, you were. I'm just saying, it was fine. But no, I've actually I've been to Cal Baptist. Like I've been on their campus.
Shane, did you hear how I've matured? I actually used agreement correctly and not agreeance. 2013, I'd have still been saying agreements.
But you're winning.
I didn't know agreements was a thing.
Oh man, Andy called me up to his office and he goes, "So,
oh
no, he spins around.
Yeah,
this whole agreements thing." I was like, "Ew.
Where's the foul?"
Never mind.
No, it's fine.
It was old memory lane. The Koa Pete thing. What else do you think I'm honking for with Arizona?
Burries.
Yeah,
for sure. Burries.
Yep.
I don't know what to do with Cole Pete.
You better admire the way he plays. Don't give me the whole NBA projection thing. He's sensational.
Every time I watch him, we were having this discussion in the Discord over the weekend. Every time I watch him, I like him more. He plays so hard. He has really good body control.
That's probably his best attribute, other than his strength.
Yeah, super strong, which is, again, we've talked about a thing that we underrate all the time in the NBA. But I still don't, I was trying to come up with I came up with a comp. I don't know if it's good or not. He kind of gives me young, maybe a little bit poor man. He almost gives me like Barkley vibes.
Yeah, maybe in college, but Barkley was bouncy.
He was. I think Pete's a little bouncier than we give him credit for.
No, I agree.
Like there's some of those quick jump dunks that he gets that no, Barkley was a great athlete.
He was a great athlete.
But so I was thinking like the body control. I get that he's not as bouncy as Chuck was, but similar body control, like really good kind of contorting yourself, kind of a supernatural rebounder almost in the sense that like they just know where the ball is going to be and can follow their own shots. And like, so I know that Chuck's offensive game evolved as he got to the league. And I don't know that Colt Pete's ever going to carry an offense to the finals. Right. But like college Chuck, I do think there's some overlap there.
Yeah, we were in, was it Dallas? It was one of the tournaments. Like we stuck around to watch a guy that was 3 years younger than us play. And it was flipping 2 years at that time. He's playing up. He's flipping Colt Pete.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know. But the Burries thing, you don't understand how bad I want to be right about that.
Yeah.
Because it's popular now. It's picking up momentum.
Oh, for sure.
Because people get to see him now on a national
the last
stage.
Month or so.
And he's playing against really good players.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I mean, the him versus Acuff head-to-head was pretty.
Yeah, he put him in a.
Yeah. Because Acuff had kind of gotten that run since Calipari had said, hey, this might be the best guard that I've ever had or best point guard I've ever had. Acuff started getting a little bit of run.
And that was fresh on the heels of Sean Miller lamenting 2 weeks before that about Acuff being the best player he'd ever coached against.
Yeah.
He's like, look at what he's doing in the SEC. And I honk for Acuff, so I'm not.
Yeah, you weren't hating on Acuff.
Yeah, Burries is that dude. And you saw what Bradley's the tough shot maker, tough shot taker. And you put him with Burries' poise.
So they're a good combo together. I wouldn't like Bradley by himself.
Because you'd probably want more of a dynamic backcourt.
Well, and if you don't have somebody to balance him out, he will shoot you out of games.
Who, Burries?
No.
Oh, Bradley. Yeah, his shot selection.
If you don't have somebody to balance him out, like if he's got the ball in his hands too much, he will shoot you out of games.
Yeah, but he just puts you on your heels.
For sure. No, I like his game a lot, but you have to match with him correctly.
That's the matchup for me is, and believe me, I can picture Cadeau in my sleep. And he is a really good defender. But one thing he is not is a guy that enjoys sitting down. Like he's a gambler.
Yeah, he'll get
and this Kenny Rock, like it won't be roasted chicken. He'll get roasted. Like you will get cooked.
Yeah,
gambling with these guys.
The front court matchup is going to be phenomenal, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, so the one thing I want to see is Mara's going to really have to run.
Yeah,
like I wish that's what Illinois would have done with Michigan a couple of weeks. That wasn't a couple of weeks. Probably about a month ago now.
Yeah.
Where they didn't stress him enough. Like, make him be fleet of foot. Your bigs can run.
Yeah, Illinois' bigs move better than Michigan's for sure.
Well, they move better than Mara. I don't know about they don't move better than
Johnson
or So, like, they should have, like, just do that.
Yeah, just put Krivas on, make him run around.
Yeah. I mean, Krivas is a real dude now.
Yeah.
Pete, and he's physical. He like Mara's gonna have to really.
What do you do with Pete in that matchup?
Well, Yax was the only one that can guard him.
Yeah,
I mean, in the starting five, I think that he has to guard Pete,
and he's one of the only people probably strong and athletic enough to guard Yax.
Well, he's going to test your stamina too.
Yeah,
Pete is in elite level physical shape.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I like. He just plays so hard all the time. Like the motor's unreal.
So I don't know, TK. I hope so. Even though he spelled Cadeau with a K, it's fine.
Yeah, it's CA.
He will.
Okay.
Cadeau will be like, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's almost like he gets bored and he feels like, oh man, I got to get one off.
Yeah. Well, there's guys like that.
I got to get one off.
You've met those guys.
It's been too long.
Or they're like, oh, I haven't got a shot up in a minute. It's time to go.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute. This seems a little out of pocket.
Dude, that's what it felt like Solo Ball was doing a little bit in the first half.
But I'm just telling you, man, like they can coach around that.
Yeah.
He's been coaching around Solo. He sit his ass down.
Well, I mean, you might have to.
balling. You make it seem like he's a ball and chain. He ain't gonna be that bad.
No, but he took some pretty bad shots early.
That's what you get, man.
He took some pretty bad shots.
That's
what I get for what though? He wasn't delivering much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand there's a Russell Westbrook version of this, and then there's like a Jordan Poole version of this, right? Yeah. Like Russell Westbrook's going to take some shots you don't want him to, but he's also going to do a lot of things you need him to. Whereas like you've got the Jordan Poole version of this where it's like, hey, if you don't shoot this at like a 60% clip, you're literally worthless to me. And like solo ball kind of rides that line between, hey, I need you to either take better shots so that you don't have this, so that you aren't like an albatross on our offense and aren't getting the ball to Terrace Reed, or I need you to start doing some other stuff on the basketball court so it offsets your bad shot selection.
I just he's such a good coach. I don't even know if I care.
For who?
About what solo ball does. BP, I couldn't disagree more.
I mean, he'll figure it out. I'm not.
And I usually rock with your hoops takes, but there's.
I still think Arizona's the best team in the tournament.
I'm just trying to figure out the philosophy, because if I strip it all away and I take opinion out of it, when each team is playing at their best, who's guarding Arizona's guards?
Yeah. Nobody's got two. Like nobody's got two people that can guard both those guys.
So if they're like who's guarding Burries and Bradley?
Yeah, no, I mean, like you could put Cadeau to gamble on one of them, but you don't have another guy to do that.
Yeah, I think unbeatable is a reach for me, because you get both teams playing at. No, they're going to score 90.
Yeah,
like both teams play,
which I'm here for. Like I think that's going to be a fun game.
It should be a fantastic game, but I don't.
If both teams play well, like that has a chance to be like an all-timer.
And do we have recency bias? Like, haven't you been watching Michigan over the last month?
Yeah.
I mean, they put it together the last two games and stretches.
Yeah. But they didn't look good at the end of the regular season. They didn't really look good in the
I don't know about
Big Ten tournament.
The unbeatable thing.
Unbeatable seems aggressive. I'm being honest.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, right there.
I was thinking
a little buffering there.
Yeah, loading.
Did we get anywhere?
No, I didn't do it around my ear. Let's see. Look, I was doing this, right? Loading. So Avi's looking at me. He's going like this.
Oh,
that's not what I did.
No,
I'm in here.
Yeah, you had the little circle. You're buffering.
It's different. I know what you're implying about me, but listen. After my weekend, you can't ruin my Monday.
I don't think I would.
I would never.
I think you tried. You walked in with us. That was nice.
I don't think I would
It's very nice to ride the elevator with you. Appreciated your company.
I don't think I would describe.
Did you tell Ravi waited for me?
I did. I waited.
Nice.
That was nice. Super nice.
I think he wanted to see what I was going to pull a dead body out of my trunk. It was just the heads.
You never know.
I didn't have enough time to get to my guy. I'm in Nebraska City tomorrow. Hopefully he's planned ahead for my heads.
Oh yeah.
You know, Damon, sometimes you gotta, like, the phrasing of the way that you say things. You're like, oh, Ravi wanted to see if I was going to pull a dead body out of my truck. Nope, just the heads.
Yeah, it didn't sound right, but I meant these guys.
Also, jumping to the fact that you thought I had I thought you had a dead body in your truck, like little serial killer.
I was no. I was trying to get ahead of.
I mean, it could have been anything.
Why I would be in my trunk.
No, I know. That's where you get the heads out of.
Yeah. So if you're just like looking, I didn't think you knew that.
Yeah, I've seen you get them out before.
Okay. Well, I was just trying to
pay attention.
Kill your vibe.
You know?
No, officer, I have a couple heads in my trunk.
Ben, that's what everybody says. They don't shoot it well enough. They don't shoot it well enough. They shoot 34.8% from three as a team. I'm just that is the low hangingest fruit. Neither does Michigan.
I was gonna say
Michigan doesn't shoot it well enough either. They shoot the same percentage.
Do we want to do this real quick?
No. I gotta get distracted.
Let's do it real quick. All right. Go. Michigan and Arizona. Michigan shoots it at what would you guess their percentages
as a team?
Yeah. Michigan.
Oh, I'm going to guess 34-1, 33-9. 33-9.
Okay. They're at 36-9.
Oh, that's higher than I thought.
That is
so Arizona isn't there. Arizona's maybe 35%.
I think they're 35 last I checked.
Maybe 35%. But it's not like
you know what?
About the same? About the same? So it must be the last 2 weeks.
36-7 versus 36-9.
They're the same team.
So
I thought they both shot about 35%.
yeah, I think they've gone up because last time I checked, they were both around 35.
Yeah, they're the same team.
Because we've done this exercise before where we're like, hey, like they're not that different, guys.
No, they don't have more guys that shoot it better.
Also, somebody in the stream, I don't know who it was, but I think you might have a beef with this one.
Which one?
Corn Raider says Arizona is soft and Michigan is inconsistent.
Arizona's soft.
I do not think anyone would describe Arizona as soft. That's not how. Just because they have some Europeans doesn't mean they're soft.
Yeah, I don't.
I think Arizona.
I don't get soft with them.
I think Arizona plays pretty physical.
I think that's how they beat people.
Yeah, I think they wear them down physically.
Yeah, like Krivas and Koa Pete are
handfuls.
Jeez, like
soft. I don't. That's not the word I would use to describe them at all.
Oh, Muffins, Corn Raider. He was bad. Yeah, I mean nobody can hit 1,000.
That's true. Except for Yasiel Puig, the first 2 weeks he was up in the majors.
And you're gonna try to get under my skin again. Why are we getting Yasiel Puig references?
That was the first guy I could think. That was so. You know why I brought him up is he was a guy that I thought of that his early start because he was hitting like 480 or something his first 3-4 weeks in the league. I was like, there is no way that this can continue, right? Like he was one of those guys, but it looks so easy. That he was one of those guys where there's no way this is real, right?
Yeah.
That's why I thought of when you're saying nobody can bat 1,000. That's what
I mean.
So I wasn't doing it just to be difficult.
Yes, you were.
Hold on.
If I knew I wasn't going to take a L in his prime versus my prime, because Puig was yoked and he's probably more apt to use a blade than I would. So I probably have to take that one on the chin. There are times I want to reach to the TV, and
he seems like he's about that life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He does.
He does. Who was the guy? Was it Shane Spencer for the Yankees that got a September call up and was just on fire in the late 90s, early 2000s? Is that Shane Spencer? Is that what I'm thinking of?
That's a heck of a pull.
Okay. So maybe Shane Spencer would have been a good
for an old fuddy duddy.
You're like Shane Spencer is just not going to be like Roger Maris or Mickey Mantle out here, right? Like that's not what we're going to do.
You know. Oh man.
Bruin Steve's taking Michigan over Denver in the Frozen Four.
Oh, so I didn't watch enough of that like I wanted to.
Yeah.
I just was cheering for North Dakota.
Didn't get an opportunity.
No.
It was a busy weekend.
It was too much going on.
Busy weekend, especially with the spring game.
And softball. And baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nebraska can go on a nice little run here if they lock in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they could get.
Well, I mean, they're already Nebraska baseball's 17-1 one of the last 18.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a pretty good run already.
It can get pretty good if they stay locked.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they're both playing incredibly well.
And softball takes 2 out of 3. Rico, was it pretty lit? Okay.
Yes, it was amazing. Sorry, I got to turn the mic on.
So it's 880.
I don't have my mic just on the whole time.
Is this thing on? So it's 8,900 total, right?
89, 83, something. Yeah, over the weekend, over the 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just packed. The berms were packed the entire time. It was a great time. And Saturday and Sunday, the weather really held up. It got a lot better as the day went on. Friday night was cold, and it was still a ton of people there.
Shoot, Saturday was cold. That wind.
Saturday was not nice.
I don't know what you guys can see from television. That wind was a monster. And
the wind died down later in the game. It was strong early, but it died down later in the game.
Yeah, because and I mean, Jess is pretty tough. Like we've had some crappy games, and I was like, Jess, the sun came out. It's in the third quarter. I was like, is it warmer? And she's like, no.
Not even a little bit.
Just how she said it, I was like, yeah, it's probably pretty.
I liked her response. She was in Houston and it was 90.
Oh yeah, she did. So you listen.
I listened. Yeah.
She goes, hey. In my defense, I just came back from Houston where it was 90, and I was like, hey, I'm not complaining about anybody's ability to manage the weather when I'm inside.
Yeah,
I'm the least qualified to talk about weather toughness. Even though
softball brought all the stars out.
Yeah, I know. It's become very. It's like it's the thing now. So I pray the softball's got to gatekeep the sport.
It's funny because me and my wife are standing.
Been coming. Where you been?
Me and my wife are standing there. We got season tickets, and usually we stand over the bullpen for Nebraska.
Yeah,
but it was full, so we're sitting in the berm. And she's like, I love how there's so many people. And I look at her, I go, but you kind of wish that there was less people so we go back to our spot. She goes, yeah. I go, I feel the same.
Do you bring the kids?
Oh yeah, there's a playground there. The kids just play the whole time.
I've seen it out there.
Yeah, they love it. They play the whole time. They're running around. There's some super troopers.
I'm not listening to you.
There's some super troopers out there who are stopping kids from rolling down the hill. They can't touch the fence when play's going on. I get that. But like rolling down the hill, they'll be fine.
So you just trust KJ as the guy to keep them all corralled, or do you just let them go unattended?
No, they just go. And we say, we're over here. They know the rules. We're like, you can't run off on your own. There's one entrance in and out of the playground. So we're like, we're right over here. If you need something, you come get us. And they do. They don't. We haven't had any problems.
All right. Just what are you getting ready to roll your eyes about? Ravi, the resident kid hater.
No, it has nothing to do. No, not that. First of all, I would be way too paranoid to just like be like, all right, kids, go have fun. Like that's a me problem. But it's the gatekeeping thing, man. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I just think people do it. You saw it kind of rear its ugly head in basketball.
It for sure did. It for sure did.
It's not like for us, it's not like seriously, like we're not telling people not to show up. Like it's one of those things where like you have a spot and we've been like standing there the whole time. We love it. And now there's a ton of people and it's like, I kind of miss it, but it's like, you know what? I don't care because there's a ton of people supporting and it's great.
Listen, do you know I have zero takes on that? Because I'm the same way. I remember like nobody sat in the corner that I sat in for Westside basketball. It was just always going to be open. And then after like 2 years, it was like not open anymore. And I was like, God, I got to get here 4 hours early just to get a place that nobody else wanted to sit. So I got no qualms with that, Rico. I want everybody to cheer.
If you want your teams to be successful, it helps when people show up. That's all I'm saying.
And we love that. And it's great.
Very much.
I just want my own spot. Just give me my spot back.
I'm just saying success comes with a little bit of sacrifice, bud. You gotta give up your seat.
Kobe, when is it time to worry about Winari? That's not so. That's a. I'll just say that I said it on Twitter, and no, I don't know if I said it on Twitter. I don't think Saturday was a good example of for 55% of the players on what I would call first and second team.
Not a good example in terms of like who they were playing with, what units they were playing with.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Like 50, let's say.
So about for half the starters you thought they were playing with.
And more influx defensively than on offense.
Yeah. Although they did a lot of playing around on the offensive line.
Oh, I know.
Like a lot of playing
looking for combinations because they were so thin.
Yeah.
And plus, after you get some of your concepts down, Game Dog with the hot take that they look slow. I'm like, Jesus. But I do understand. I will concede this to the hot take. I don't think I don't think the spring game is a good place for television.
I mean, if you,
I think you have to see it.
I think if you have some like sweeping takeaways from this particular spring game that you saw, I think you're probably reaching.
God, I would probably agree. Somebody asked me yesterday at the girl. I'm like, I don't really have any huge.
No.
The three things I would say is schematically, I like the run game. I think they've got some options with how they're blocking it, and I like the schemes.
Okay.
I also like that the game didn't get clunky regardless of what quarterback played.
That's true. I thought there were.
So this is like, I'm not a fan.
Sure.
Right. I like, this is me talking about proficiency. So I like that part of it. And I also like the fact that I think I didn't really see guys take a step backwards. Like if I thought you were something going in, I don't think I was like I could have eaten crow on Jamal Rule. I could have eaten crow on Quinn Clark or Mooberry or a guy, because I just think with all the mixing and matching, you had to probably look at individuals.
That's what I ended up doing. I didn't think schematically they gave you a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, they gave you almost nothing in the passing game whatsoever. I did like, there was a couple, like individually, obviously
played a lot more one high than they normally would. That's not how they're going to play.
I thought it was really interesting there from an individual standpoint. There was a few things that I thought were interesting. Number one, I liked that Calandria was willing to like put the ball in a position where the receiver could make a play. Obviously, with the Quinn Clark touchdown, that was an example of that. There was a play like 3 plays before that, the throw to Barney on the sideline. That's a throw that like you kind of have to trust.
The back shoulder one.
No, it was. Yeah, I guess technically it was. He was by him, but it was still. I don't know. It was a weird. It was a ball that was placed in a spot where it's like, hey, go make a play.
Going to the south, or I guess like left to right on your television. I don't know. Best wishes throwing the ball.
But like I thought
I couldn't believe they made the 49-yard field goal.
Yeah, that was impressive.
I was like, huh.
All the field goals look good. Like I know only the one was of distance, but
Cunanan is a stud.
Yeah.
If you can play enough close games where you can utilize him, that would be nice. Now, I'm not speaking into existence only playing close games, but I don't know if you know the schedule is very impossible. So they may be in a lot of close games.
Daunting. That's what I'm told.
Listen, it's tough on paper. But I'd rather have Ohio State and Indiana at home than on the road. So that's how I look at it. I thought it was interesting that Calandria looked like he was willing to make some throws that kind of put like 50-50 throws where it's like, hey, I'm going to put this in a spot where my guy can make a play. Yeah.
I think you have to do that in order to have a successful passing game, especially down the field. But I didn't think they showed us very much in general. I thought, honestly, I walked away from that thinking minimum 4, maybe 5 running backs you'd be okay putting in a game. Like minimum 4.
Oh, yeah.
And so like that I thought answered a lot of questions about, this is why they didn't go get anybody.
Yeah.
Like, you going to tell Rule he can't play this year? Because Rule looks like he's going to play this year. Obviously, Nelson and Mosey are going to play this year. Ives looks like he's ready to play this year.
How about his frame?
He looks so much better.
He doesn't even look like the same person.
He doesn't. I had to look up the number.
He doesn't even look like the same person.
Yeah, I was like that. I didn't. The first time 21 came in the game, I had to look up the number. He looked like a different human being.
He's like, I don't know. I think it's the thinning out. We were talking about this on the broadcast, and it's because we've seen him for so long, and he had so many of those soft tissue injuries with like the hamstring and that high butt. Like he shaved all that off.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Like all that's all. He's a heavy runner. You see him and Donovan.
Yeah,
as a business decision, you get the big kid in the open field coming downhill. Like you better be pot committed.
Yeah, I looked. I was like, okay, I'm good with minimum 4 running backs, so I feel good there. That's more than you would have said last year, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned Calandria, Quinn Clark. Obviously, you've been talking about him a lot of the offseason, made that spectacular catch. But it was hard to get much. I mean, you weren't going to get anything, I don't think, from a schematic or from an overall team standpoint. I thought you had to look at some individuals and say, hey, I kind of like how this looks. I kind of like how that looks. But there wasn't. I mean, it was more so than most years. A, I don't think they gave you much. And B, I thought it was pretty tough to get any takeaways.
Yeah, I was like, again, if you stayed relatively healthy. I was talking to one of the guys about like kind of playing at home and how you have to be, and he said something interesting, and he's a good player. So I'm not gonna put him out there, but he knows how I feel about schedule talk. And he goes, sometimes we just want to say to people, this is why we came to the Big Ten. Like, why do we keep talking about this? And I wanted to say, I was like, oh my gosh, would you be willing to go? He's like, no. I was like, it's just the difference between a player's mentality. And I was like, I know, I get it, which is kind of where I get into trouble sometimes, because not in trouble like my wrist slapped, but I'm just saying, I don't engage in. People look forward to the schedule. They're not intimidated by it. They're not, oh shit,
yeah.
Look who we got. Like, they don't think like that, and you don't want them to think like that.
No, you can't think like that.
So,
I get why fans think like that.
I just thought it was fun because sometimes when you don't really know what's in there when guys read social media all the time, or the newspaper or whatever. And it's like, listen, man, that's why you come to the Big Ten. Like, there are no easy games.
I think at some point, and I know part of this you don't love, but I think that's just the way it's going. I mean, at some point, sooner or later, this thing is going to go to 16 teams in terms of a playoff.
Even though I hope not.
But that seems inevitable within the next few years. And the fact of the matter is, we're going to have to start viewing the regular season a lot more like basketball than we do have football historically.
Oh, you're talking about like 9-3 type stuff?
Yeah, you've got really big, good. Like, nobody talks about your conference strength of schedule that much in basketball unless you're on the bubble. Like, if you're one of the really good teams, it's like, yeah, you're going to lose 5 conference games. Nobody cares, right? You're good. I think we're moving to a place, whether it's the SEC and the Big Ten, or mostly those 2 conferences, where you can take 2 or 3 conference losses and it's not going to matter that much.
Yeah.
Because you're still being in a position to make the 16-team playoff, and everybody like, yeah, that's a good team. They play a tough conference schedule. They're in. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Like, that's where this is headed. That's why they've started consolidating these teams into one conference. Like, I don't know. What did you think the schedules were going to look like when they brought in Washington and Oregon and USC and UCLA? Like, they were going to start looking like this. There's too many good teams in the league to have a weak schedule most years. Like, you're going to play 3 good teams every year, minimum. That's it. Like, that's just what's going to happen. And you want to. Like, you want to play those teams. A, it tests you, and B, it means your conference is good. If you're not if you got this big of a conference and you're not playing 3 really hard games every year, your conference is terrible.
Yeah, minimum.
Yeah.
Dixie, you don't say. I mean, at some point you got to wash that fruit off. It just continually drags on the ground. It's dirty. We want to play in the Big Ten. We want at some point to win the over, not have it set at 5.5 in year 4. I mean, hot take. Plus, you go, fan, go fan. No kidding.
I mean,
Jesus, the miserable soul.
Sorry.
Let's just rest in it. Why compete?
It's tossed out there from Friday too. Gonna lose to Iowa every year too. Just gonna lose to Iowa every year. Never gonna be good again.
You better figure out a way to fix it. You better figure out a way to fix it.
Never gonna be good again. That's just what it is. Everybody's cool with it, I guess.
I guess we'll see.
Or we could keep trying.
You gotta play ball.
Keep trying.
You gotta line up and play it.
Sam McKEWON coming up next. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event at Edwards Hyundai. Save up to $7,000 off MSRP on the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy all-wheel drive. March Mania deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Score big with these savings. Or finance the 2026 Hyundai Tucson SE all-wheel drive at 0% for 72 months, starting at just $461 a month. Getaway deals this good won't last. Head to Edwards Hyundai today.
Yeah, I would say like Jameer, he made kind of the initial play, but I was just kind of doing my job, like just pushing through. Like I have a curl flat, so I just had vision on the quarterback, and I saw him throw it, and I was kind of just waiting there for the tip, and he did, and I was in the right spot at the right time, and I got to get in that end zone, but. Yeah, it was good. It was definitely steps throughout the way because I was playing some field safety for like the first 5 or something practices, and then I get put in at nickel, and I had to learn it pretty quickly, but it was kind of it wasn't that difficult, but there's still little things that I need to work on. And with this next month coming up here, and the summer, I'm gonna get it down, and we'll be good going into the season.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, Jamal had a really good spring, and what he looked like today, he looked like all spring long. He's very conscientious. He's big. He's tough. He's fast. Got home run ability. I think the biggest thing though is, like I said, he's tough. Like he doesn't mind contact. He put himself through the spring in position to compete to play in the fall. I think which is all you can do as a freshman, right? So he's got 6 weeks here to train, to continue to build his body up. Emmett was an absolute anomaly what he did last year, just in terms of playing so much. We probably would never think to do that. But he just had a unique gift. Never really, his contact balance and his lateral change of direction, he never really took a big hit. But I thought you saw today more of like how we probably would play. Hey, 4 or 5 plays with this guy, get this guy in. Hey, third down, get this guy in. And I thought you saw them all, all make plays. But Jamal's certainly preparing to play this year as a freshman.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Sam McKEWON from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, how are we doing this morning?
Great. How are you guys?
Sam, so let me ask you something. I'll get to softball and baseball here in a second. But the basketball program has been considerably worse historically than the football program, right? Hot take.
Right.
And the basketball program has had more recent success than the football program, right?
The last 3 years, yes.
Okay. So what do you think the difference is in the fan thought process that when we see teams like Michigan and Illinois in the Final Four? And I get it. We beat Illinois. Played Michigan tough. We give ourselves credit for that. We would not do that in the other sport.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think we're more optimistic about the direction of basketball as a frame of reference than we are, having resigned ourselves to football that we would never be able to play near the upper echelon again?
Yeah, I can't necessarily speak for how fans view it. I think, well, I guess I could a little bit.
Yeah,
What I would
just
say,
what you think the difference is.
yeah, I think that Nebraska football had been good for so long that it created an expectation of how it should always be. And now it hasn't been great for a while. And I think a kind of lack of hope or apathy has set in. With basketball, it's new. So this is the best season in school history. So I think the optimism for where the program will go is higher than it's ever been. So, I think some of it is timing and context. So, the optimism at this moment is sky high, off the charts. And everybody can kind of see that the two best scorers on the team, Sanford and Frager, are probably going to come back. Now, if one of those guys, if Price Sanford goes to the NBA, which I don't think is going to happen, I think he's probably going to be back. But let's say he slipped into the first round and all the scouts agree, well, he's a first round pick. I don't know that optimism would be that high going into next year. I think people are like, oh, well, there went the best scorer we had. So, I think that's some of it. From my perspective, I actually, Nebraska's lack of success in basketball was sort of such an anomaly that it just kind of boggles the mind. Like, it never should have been like that. I'm not saying that it's easy to be good in basketball, but it wasn't as hard as Nebraska made it for many, many years. And so I kind of feel like Nebraska basketball is just sort of elevating to the mean, so to speak. Whereas I think in football, it's become harder and harder and harder to be good. A lot of things got to go right. The way I describe it is, basketball is kind of like running a small business or a great restaurant, and football is like the military or the government. And it's just hard. It's hard to be good. It's hard to stay good. Indiana makes it look easy, but it wasn't easy for Indiana either. So they made it look easy, but it wasn't easy. They got all the pieces right, but it doesn't mean that anybody can do it. So I think those are probably the components that I look at. I mean, Michigan basketball has been better than Michigan football over the last 40 years. They've won a national championship, and they have played for 4 more in the last 40 years. So Michigan football has, I think, only really played for 2 national titles. They won them in 97 and then a couple of years ago. Michigan basketball's played for 5, and they could play for 6 if they win on Saturday night. Well, that tells you something about it. I mean, nobody would say that Michigan football is smaller than Michigan basketball, but look what Michigan basketball has done over that period of time. So, it's probably one of those kind of deals, and I think that's probably explains where fans are out a little bit.
When you're talking about the historical success and the programs at Nebraska, it's I think it's worth throwing volleyball into the mix on that as well, right? Because it seems like we reacted very differently to a sport with a history of success that's been very good as of late, but let's be honest, it's fallen short of what we all expect in terms of winning a national title. It seems like we react very differently to that than we do, even when football was doing better but couldn't get over the hump, and now we're trying to kind of get to a different spot there. Like,
and volleyball, you could easily make the case it's significantly better in its sport.
Yes.
Over time.
Yes. Than any
of the aforementioned.
Yes.
Outside of the 20 years of Nebraska football, right?
Yes. I mean, you basically have 40 years of volleyball being the best team in the country, or one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the country. And, especially of the last handful of years, not
relative to its sport.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess when you kind of like, if I want to throw volleyball into the mix there, Sam, like, why do we process volleyball so much differently than we do either of the other 2 sports that we just talked about?
Well, the volleyball team has, if you were playing in the national championship in football and you were in the Final Four and so they played for the national championship in 21 and they played for it in 23 and they were in the Final Four in 24. And, imagine Nebraska football being in the Rose Bowl, being the number one team in the country and losing, 31-28 to the eventual national champion. That's kind of what volleyball's done. I think that's pretty good. So I don't want to, I understand that Nebraska volleyball internally feels like it probably should have won a couple of national championships in the last 5 years, but the success is nevertheless off the charts. I mean, it's way up there. So, I don't view Nebraska volleyball right now the way I would football. I think volleyball is just a lot more successful. So, I don't know how Husker football fans would feel if the football team played for a national championship in 21 and 23 and made the college football playoff 4 out of the last 5 years or all 5 years. I think people would feel much the way that fans feel about Oregon or Georgia. I think Georgia won the national title in 22, but that's kind of where Nebraska volleyball is. It's in a rarefied air. It's like Duke basketball. Now, at this point, I think people around the program at Duke are probably pretty frustrated. Today they're probably really frustrated, and they got to figure out a way to get over the top. I'm sure that's how they feel about it.
Well, they've blown 26 points worth of leads the last 2 years.
They have, and some of that is that their program is going to have to decide. And this is not Nebraska volleyball at all. This is Duke basketball. They're going to have to decide whether they want to win a championship or they want to continue to field, a Nike shoe development program. And I don't mean that in a rude way. Those players are great. The Boozer brothers are great. Cooper Flagg was great. I know he signed with New Balance. I'm aware, but you either go and get a team that doesn't make the kinds of mistakes that Duke has made in recent years down the stretch of games where they struggle to finish because everybody on the floor is 19, or you continue to say we're Duke and we're going to go get one and dones and we're going to look really good in the NBA draft. It's the same conundrum that John Calipari ran into when he was at Kentucky and he only won that one national championship. And Duke has not won one national champion. They haven't won a national championship since, 2012 or no, it was later than that. It was 2015.
Yeah, 2015. Yeah.
So Kentucky won the title in 2012. That's Calipari's only title at Kentucky. And Duke's not won a championship since 2015. And people who know that program back then know that all those guys were seniors. That was the old Duke team that won the national championship. So, at Duke, everything goes great until they get to the tournament, and then they're putting 19-year-olds out on the floor who are going to go to the NBA the next year. The two guys that are battling for NBA Rookie of the Year both came from Duke last year, but they didn't win the national championship. And so, every program has its own questions. I think that's what Duke's question is right now is maybe it's time to get a little older so that when you get in the tournament, you don't make freshman mistakes. And it wasn't just the one mistake at the end. It was other things toward the end of that game.
Yeah, you don't get to that blowing a 19-point lead based on that last 10 seconds.
No, not at all. But you look at Connecticut, and Connecticut has a collection of, I know the guy that made the shot was a freshman, but Connecticut has a collection of grown men. Alex Caravan is 23.
Yeah.
Terrace Reed is not a kid. They have done a really good job of prioritizing, if we're going to be honest, winning college basketball games. UConn has had a lot of really good and old players. Now, they've mixed in a lottery pick or two, but they certainly have not done in the last 7 years what Duke has done. And I think Connecticut's won 2 national championships. Now, I don't think they're going to win this one. I think they'll lose, whether it's in the Final Four or the final game. But then you look at the other teams that are in the Final Four, and, you got guys that are old. At Illinois and Arizona and Michigan and UConn, those are old teams. Michigan's old. Yaxel Lindenberg is old. He's like 23, 24. So
just ask him. It's funny to him.
Right. So, those are the questions that Duke's going to have to contend with. I think when it comes to Nebraska football, the questions that, invariably the questions that they've got to try to work through, to me, is that there's decent depth, there's quality top-end talent. It's not necessarily, and I think this vexes the program a little bit, the people within it. They don't have Jeremiah Smith. They don't necessarily have, they have good receivers. They don't have a pass rusher who is, Caden Curry or Arvell Reese or whoever you want to put in there. Texas Tech had that guy last year and David Bailey. Nebraska didn't necessarily have that guy. And so I think there's a frustration there, but this is a program that has to continue. The area where Nebraska's got to continue to get better isn't just playing the very best teams, but they got to go find a way to get into the upper third of their league. If you do that, then you've got a chance to make the playoff every year. And up until Dylan getting hurt, it looked like Nebraska was going to go into November and have at least an opportunity to have a conversation about getting in the back end of the playoff. I don't think they probably would have if they had finished 10-2, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so that's what they've got to figure out how to do, and they've got to do it with a harder schedule this year than they had last year.
This is fascinating because this is on the heels last week of talking about recruiting certain types of players, and we were using Duke as an example, right? Like they're going to get their 5-star is different than going to get, I couldn't see Darren Peterson playing at Duke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like there's this varying degree, but I think at the end of the day, I prefer to be old. I've seen it in football, old basketball teams, Illinois excluded probably, who's not as old as, like, let's say Arizona in Arizona.
Although a lot of those European guys are different.
They're experienced, so it's different.
Yes.
It's different. It's different. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Games played, not
Still
necessarily
freshmen, technically,
age.
but yeah.
But we see it in football almost more than anything. We see it in college baseball. Like the older you are, seems like the better you tend to be. It's year 4, and there's a conundrum at Nebraska because remember, Bo wanted more time, right? And people were mad at his development, but he wanted an older team. He didn't want to have to play younger interior linemen. Scott Frost with the famous, listen, we want to get old and stay old. It's what do you call it? He called it a grown-ass man's league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Nebraska's still relatively young numerically. They're getting better experience. Can year 4 does it have to look a certain way to allow Nebraska a chance to actually get older? Because they will eventually be an old team. You just have to win enough games in the process.
Yeah, I think they're on their way to being old. I think next year is the season when you're going to see the most, rural recruits sort of mature and develop. You're going to get into that 3rd and 4th year. I'll say this.
Go ahead. Guys, and even the guys that they're getting out of the portal, for the most part, are multi-year guys.
Mm-hmm. They are. I will say this. I think that the offensive line looked good on Saturday, and not just the first team. The second team line looked good. And if you look at the guys on the second team line, Sam Sledge is, I think, entering his 3rd or 4th year.
Yeah.
Brock Knutson's entering his 3rd or 4th year. These are older guys. They're, Gunnar Gatula would be a 3rd or 4th year guy when he comes back. He would fit into that group.
Be starting, Sam. Any other year.
Right.
Sledge starting.
Tyler Kanak is a 5th year guy. So like, if you look at the way that their offensive line has developed and the way that they've retained the players that they recruited and added, I think it's fair to say that they did a good job in the portal of adding the 3 linemen they added. I think those are good players.
Yeah, I thought the offense. I'm with you. I'm glad you said that because I like the schemes. I like the intricacies. I like the angles. I like the pulling 2 guys uncovered versus covered. Like for me as a defensive guy, if I'm looking at that, I'm thinking to myself, it's a handful. And they weren't particularly fancy in how they were doing it, but I definitely could envision when you start to run duo, then you sprinkle in quarterback run game, then you're playing with multiple pullers. Like you could tell that's an experienced bunch.
Right. I thought what I saw on Saturday looked more like Georgia Tech and more like Utah. I liked what I saw from the run game a lot. And I felt like I was watching a run game that was a little bit more, certainly more sophisticated than some of the things that we've seen. Well, that we saw Mark Whipple roll out there, but more sophisticated even than like Dana Holgorsen. And granted, now in Satterfield's first year, they were doing all kinds of stuff because they felt like they had to in order to move the ball because they weren't able to throw it very effectively. And some of that was because they didn't have any receivers or very good ones. But so they were doing a lot that first year, a whole bunch of stuff and dusting off old plays from 30 years ago. Yeah. But I like what I saw on Saturday. And I think that's an area where, and if you look at the tight ends, Lindenmeyer, but also Echternach and Danny King, other players that are older, Ingerson, and then you have the running backs, all of whom have been there except for Jamal Rule. So never discount the
Connor back.
Right. But you never discount the fact that you're bringing back Mekhi Nelson for a third year. So like he's built up a body of knowledge. Mott Mosey is in his second year, his first full year as a running back. And so you look at the body of knowledge they build up, and I think that makes you better on offense over time. And then defensively, A, they're learning a new defense. B, they're learning a new defense. C, some guys were banged up. And D, they're going to have to figure it out up front. And I think that's still a work in progress. I thought we saw really good play at times from Whittington. Some good moments from Tyson Terry.
Yeah.
Couple good moments from Lenhart. But there were some guys on that 2 defense who took first team snaps a lot last year who still need to get better at the jobs that they're being asked to do. The teams that they're going to face next year, and I know people don't like doing this. I get it. But, we can talk about it a bunch of different ways. You can say, well, the first game is against Ohio. Ohio's got to replace a lot. Nebraska should be fine there. You can say, well, the first 5 games are all winnable. You can say that. Or you can go to the 2 games in October, which are the games that Husker football fans want to see Nebraska compete in and maybe even win. And, those are the games. And then you take a week off. And then you play Washington. Washington's going to be really good. People don't maybe appreciate what was left behind there and the work that they've already done. They're a good team. And so, like all of those games put together, people have different mileage may vary on what they decide to focus on. But ultimately, all the work they're putting in now is designed to win then. And so people's minds naturally travel to when I'm watching that game on Saturday, I'm getting texts from people. They're like, hey, this looks like a team that can start 5-0. And then I get, well, what about Indiana and Oregon? Those are the questions that you get from fans. And I think those are fair. And I think you've got some really good answers to the 5-0 thing. And I think we'll see on the other one.
Sam, when you're looking at kind of the schedule, and obviously that's been a big topic conversation this season is the teams on the schedule. Is like, how much of this do you think we just have to get used to with a conference this big, with this many good football programs in it? Like, this is just going to be the schedule. You're going to play 3 or 4 really good teams every year. And like, we kind of just need to get used to it.
We got to get used to it. I think there's really good. And then there's, Bill Connolly comes out with his S&P plus last week, and Ohio State's 1, Oregon's 2, and Indiana's 5. And so now Ohio State's always number 1. There's reasons for that, and we don't need to get into all the analytics. But
I'm a little surprised, though, to be honest. Ohio State lost a lot.
Yeah, they got a lot going on.
They did, but they, he takes into account the quality of players they get, and there's reasons to believe. I think it was Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Georgia 3. And so it's always going to be the same kinds of teams. The thing about Oregon, which is interesting, is I think they've got the best starters in the country. I don't know that it's all that close. Their front 7 is going to be, they're going to have 3 or 4 first or second round picks in their front 7 on the defensive side. They have the best starters in the country. They lost some of their depth to the portal. So some of their guys that are actually really good players got millions of dollars at other schools. So I assume Oregon's going to be really good in mid-October, but you never know. Somebody might get hurt. You saw what happened to Oregon in the playoff when their offense really couldn't function very well because they got a bunch of guys banged up. But they've got the best starters in the country. And so Nebraska's going to have to go out there and withstand what I think is just an elite group of players. And I think that's reflected in the S&P rankings. So like it's some years you're going to get, pretty good teams. Some years you're going to get really good teams. And then like Nebraska got the version of Penn State that was the version everybody thought they were going to get. But then like that team fell apart for about a month and then it came back together. And by the time Nebraska faced them, they were in a world of problems, like Penn State was playing its butt off. And that's the Penn State you don't want to play. And so Nebraska fans got a taste of it last year when they went out to Penn State and they ran into a buzzsaw. I think that the buzzsaw they're going to face this year is in October. They're going to get Indiana and they're going to get Oregon. And then, Ohio State is always Ohio State. They're always talented and they're always tough. And they're pretty well coached. I mean, they're well coached. On defense, I thought they were very well coached last year by Matt Patricia and those assistants.
I think it's interesting, Sam, because I want to, the expectation. I'm just fascinated by the perspective of the narrative of, I don't have as much interest, and apathy set in, and kind of this doom and gloomy, and I just compare it to other sports that have had significantly less success for longer periods of time that we get excited about, and I can't help but to just think, man, we just need something. Like we would gravitate towards anything. We've seen some heartbreaking baseball losses, and all of a sudden here we are again, top 25 program, and it's like go baseball. And we saw what happened with basketball, and these same people that are running up and down the streets for Coach Hoiberg these last 3 years are, 75% of them are the same ones that wanted him fired. And I don't say that to chastise. I say that to say, where did the belief come from outside of the proof of process, or how much do they have to win before it flips? Because it doesn't seem to take. You mentioned volleyball, and I get it because I'm the last person that wants to pit one sport against the other from its fandom. But some sports get much more of a pass than others, and I would think football would be on the receiving end because it's probably the most. Historically, it's been the most capable, and in football has had the most disparity in terms variance of who can win.
Yeah. You mean as a sport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd think you'd be a little more encouraged. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. I'm just looking for I'm thinking out loud.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Again, I don't think that the volleyball and the football conversations are the same. I think if Nebraska football were in the CFP the last 5 years, the conversation that would be had right now would be more about something else other than can they win 8 games?
I disagree. I think that's pretty short-sighted because when Nebraska was winning 10 games in football every year and didn't win the big game, it was a problem. So I think we're misremembering. I think we're misremembering what it's like to be the national standard, but to not get it done in crunch time.
Sure. I think the conversation would be had here would be similar to the one Georgia's having.
Okay.
Like it just wouldn't be the same.
You know what I mean?
I don't think there would be I don't think there would. The conversation that Georgia's having right now is not the same conversation that Nebraska football is having. That's the conversation that Nebraska volleyball is having, the one that Duke basketball is having. And so, if that's where Nebraska football was, what the conversations we would be talking about now would be like, okay, well, what does this team have to do to get over the top and win those final games? And it wouldn't even be a question. I think that what has happened at Nebraska as you know, it's sort of had this slow decline. And as an example, I think Wisconsin's going through kind of the same thing. So Wisconsin never was as good as Nebraska football was at any time in its history. Has never been as good as Nebraska was from 1963 to, I don't know, 2002. But Wisconsin is experiencing the low that Nebraska has gone through. And so Wisconsin hit a certain peak. Maybe they peaked, the night of the Big Ten championship in 2017 when they had a chance to, to go to the national title, and they lost the game, and then whatever happened. So maybe they peaked that night. And since then, it's been sort of a slow decline. And Paul Chryst was their Frank Solich, and now Luke Fickell is their Bill Callahan, and they're going to go through this exact same experience that Nebraska went through. They didn't learn Nebraska's lessons, and so you're going to see that bear out in the, I saw something about, as Luke Fickell said he needed to talk to the high school coaches more. And I'm like, this is Bill Callahan all over again. And, so like there are programs that are experiencing it. I can't change how fans feel. I would say that I look at the conversation around Nebraska football
from a solution standpoint. Like, what do you think it is? Not necessarily interested in and kind of saying they should or shouldn't feel like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think it's that there used to be this
from a solution standpoint.
I think there used to be an incredible amount of success and within the program. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure I have much more on that topic. Okay. I'm serious. I don't think that the expectation right now is for the program to be 11-1 and that people will be disappointed if they're not. I think from my perspective, I look at the program from a micro perspective. I spent a lot of time looking at the other Big Ten teams and looking at where Nebraska is relative to that, because if you're super competitive in the Big Ten, you have a college football playoff worthy team. And so part of what I do is I look at what Nebraska's done, and then I'm going to look at all of the teams that they play in the Big Ten. Because, I mean, what's the point of looking at teams they don't play? There's not much you can do about Minnesota this year. So I'll start with Rutgers and Illinois. So Rutgers I have an whole outlay. Rutgers historically cannot stop the run since they've joined the Big Ten. And it doesn't really matter who their players are, their coaches are. They can't do it. And they have not done it for 11 or 12 years or whatever it is. And so, and Rutgers, for some reason last year, found a way to move the ball. And they probably should have won a couple more games because of the way they moved the ball, but they couldn't stop anybody on the ground. They gave up 450 yards to Oregon and 325 and 11 yards a carry to Penn State. So all these incredible numbers. So I start there, and then I'll progress through all the other teams. And then you kind of create okay, this is where this program is. I think Husker fans want to see, if I was going to lay it out there, I think Husker fans want to see Nebraska win the games that Nebraska fans think they should. And also,
what is that? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Iowa?
No.
Okay.
I would say that the game that Nebraska lost last year that Nebraska fans thought Nebraska should have won was Minnesota.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just looking for
yeah. And so that and then go bag a big team. So that, you can, people will define that differently. I'll say this. I think we're at a point now. I put a poll out about 2 weeks ago. I think people are at the point where what they really, really want to do is beat Iowa, and not in a Nebraska should beat Iowa, but Nebraska fans really, really want to win that game. And it feels like, that Nebraska's program they've mentioned wanting to be better in November. And coincidentally, November's schedule is mighty tough. And it's tough. but it was tough last year too.
Yeah, they'll be favored like on paper in less than half their games.
Yeah, I think so.
I always worry, or not worry. I always want clarity on when we say the word should.
I think they'll be favored in 6 or 7.
Okay.
I think first, obviously the first 3. And I'm just telling, like, the people who think about Ohio and like, this isn't going to be a great Ohio team. And then Bowling Green is Bowling Green, and North Dakota might be the best of the 3 teams. To be perfectly frank, but I think Nebraska will be favored in all 3. And then I'll take them as like a 3-point favorite at Michigan State. And then I think they should be favored over Maryland. I really do. And Maryland's going to be better than they were last year, but it's at home and they should be favored. So there's 5. And then I think they should be a 3 to 4 point favorite at Rutgers. And then, yeah, that's probably it. I don't know what the Washington line will be. It depends on how good Washington is. I think Washington's going to be very good. And so, as I look at that program and what they're doing there, I think, Nebraska should be, that's kind of a pick 'em game. And then the other ones, they would be underdogs in. That'd be at Illinois and at Iowa, at Oregon, and then Indiana and Ohio State at home. So I would say
Illinois is going to be fascinating.
Yeah,
I have no sweeping.
Yeah, I have no frame of
I have
reference on
no
what they think they're gonna
sweeping generalizations about Illinois football at all yet. I mean, they lost a really, really, really good quarterback.
They lost good coordinator too.
Yeah.
So they lost good coaches. They have a certain identity that they want to play to. We will see. I have to kind of tear into them. I haven't done that yet. I've gotten to Rutgers and I've gotten to Oregon. I don't think I'll write about Oregon this week because I want to see a little bit more from them. But I have a pretty good idea of what that program's about and what they're doing. And I think if you were to ask Husker fans, what program do you think Nebraska could be like? I think some people would say Oregon. Why can't Nebraska beat Oregon? And there's some reasons for that. And some of those reasons are almost out of control of everybody that's involved in the football program. Like, some of those reasons are involved with who the CEO of Nike is and where he went to school. And that's tough. That's a tough deal because 15 years ago, you might have been able to say, well, there's no reason Nebraska can't be Oregon. In this moment, it actually would be kind of hard if you don't have the CEO of Nike as your primary booster.
I'd love to do an actual deep dive into actual real football expenditures within the conference in terms of rosters. I think my gut tells me we would be blown away on where Nebraska actually is within the conference.
Where do you think Nebraska is?
Below the middle of the. My guess would be anywhere from 9 to 12.
Okay.
From 9,
from
9 to 12.
I think 7 or 8 is probably where I'd put it.
Yeah, I don't think it's 7 or 8.
Okay.
I definitely don't think it's 7 or 8.
I think I would put Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Michigan, USC, definitely those 5. Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that would be 6. Nebraska's, probably to me is probably right around that area after that. I don't know what Washington's doing. I could guess, but
especially going through the list. Yeah, I would safely guess between 10, 11, 12-ish range.
Are you talking about rev share or like NIL, the whole thing?
I'm talking about the thing when fans are really flippant and they say things like, I want the winning to reflect the money we spend in football. I think they really mean roster. If they don't, I need more clarity. I'm going to go with 10 to 12.
Right. So the one team and I've written this, the one team that has outperformed what we perceive to be their roster expenditures is Iowa. And at the end of the day, Iowa still finished 6th in the Big Ten. So let's say, for argument's sake, Iowa was 10th or 11th in its roster expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
It outperformed its expectations, but it also lost, right? It also lost to Indiana and Oregon at home, where Iowa's at its best. It lost at USC, and it needed a last-second victory to beat Penn State. So at the end of the day, outperforming your roster expenditures when you're in a major conference like the Big Ten
but
doesn't mean that you're going to be one of the 3 or 4 best teams. And we don't know what Indiana spent. It's hard to tell. Some people believe that Indiana spent a lot more than people think because Mark Cuban was giving a lot of money. It's really hard to tell. But my understanding is this year there is no question about how much Indiana is spending. Their quarterback costs $4.5 million. They're spending a lot of money at Indiana this year.
Yeah, and here's the thing about using Iowa, why I cringe. Because, listen, Matt Patricia is going to make $3.5 million. I don't know that given the coaching prowess, he's better than what Parker is for Iowa, given what he's doing, right? But Parker is never going to ask for that kind of money. Right. So we have to be careful when we use Iowa, because they're one of the few schools that has constantly, you could put them in any outperformed category. Iowa outperforms just about anything we perceive every single year.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily calling them an outlier. I'm just saying they're not a good example.
And even
even
if they do outperform it, they haven't actually put themselves in position to make the playoff. That's the other piece, is they even if they're 9-4 and they're darn good 9-4, that wasn't going to get them in the playoff.
Parents $5, $6, $7, $8 million. If you didn't, like, he's just not going to do that to you. You know, Parker's not going to do that to you.
Right. So they had one team in 2015 that would have been a college football playoff team. It would have, even if they would have. Let's just leave it at that. Iowa would have been a CFP team in 2015. Well, that was, I'll be honest with you, that was prior to, right? That was prior to NIL and rev share. So, like, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, there was only so much Ohio State and Michigan State, which actually made the playoff that year. There's only so much those programs could do to make, and I think Ohio State made the playoff that year too, but there's only so much those teams could do. Now, you know, you're able to buy depth. Again, we'll see with Oregon. I think they got the best starters in the country. I don't know about their depth. I think their depth is going to be freshmen. They're going to have to figure that out, but it is challenging. And so, like, if we're talking about the money piece, I whether it's 7th or 8th or it's 9th through 12th, I would say that makes it. And if Nebraska fans need to understand something, it would be that if you're 7th in your league in expenditures, you better hope you play in the ACC, because that's not going to work in the Big Ten. If you really, really want to be in the playoff every year, you're going to have to put your expenditures up there in the top 4, or you're going to have to get that schedule to be just right, where, you know, you play a bunch of teams that aren't very good, and it just happens to be that way, and there was a ton of injuries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, that is absolutely true. If you want to be 7th in the league and CFP expenditures, then you better play in the ACC. In the Big 12, Texas Tech was number 1 by a wide margin, and they won the league going away. And that's going to be the case again this year. And so that's all absolutely true. If fans if they want to have an understanding of what they need to do, they're going to have to, somewhere along the way, you better root for Nebraska to win that arbitration, or for the CSC to not work, because Nebraska's not going to get this thing done just by rev share alone. You have to go over the cap, and you got to find creative ways to do it. And that's where things are at. As it relates to the expectations, I think Nebraska fans at this moment actually would be really happy with a 9-win season that includes a win over Iowa. I
mean, that's
I
not
think they'd be pretty happy.
That's not a hot take, Sam.
No, it's not.
We
But
would,
like, you know, I think that would be fair.
Relocate to Bourbon Street like it was Mardi Gras.
Like they would be happy about that. So like I don't think that the fans are that unreasonable.
No, that's not my point. My point is saying what you're asking them to do, Nebraska hasn't done in 10 years.
Right.
So yeah, they for sure be ecstatic. This isn't I mean, shoot. Iowa and 9 wins? Come on, man. Everybody's doing that, signing up for that yesterday. We would be king cake. What else would we have? Well, Sam, we're trying to watch our figures. At least I am. What would we go with?
Got some
T-bones, little lobster. Like, Sam, we'd party.
Right. And I understand that the fan base has conflicted feelings about Raiola, but if he doesn't get hurt and they win the USC game,
I know
they might have had that last year.
I know
they might have already had it. And again, I understand all the complexities around Raiola, but you know, he was the starting quarterback and he knew the team and he knew the offense and they knew him and they did have to make adjustments late in the season. And, you know, if Lateef isn't hurt in the Iowa game, which he was, you know, all those things come into play, but I don't think they're that far away. I think, again, what I saw from the offense on Saturday was very encouraging. What I think where I would temper expectations for Nebraska is you're just going to have to give the defense time. It's almost this way every single time you install a new defense, with the exception of Tony White and Matt Rule in their first year. Usually it takes a little bit of time. And, you know, guys have to figure out exactly what they want. And then guys have to execute the plan. And that, you know, well, and Bo Pelini was able to do that too. So, in 03, Bo Pelini got it right. But, you know, Cosgrove was not good in 04. And then, you know, we've seen other defenses come along the way and it hasn't always worked. Bo's defense in 08 was far from perfect. I mean, they had some busts that they completely fixed by the following season. So like people need to temper their expectations a little bit. But I thought we saw some splash plays. I think the secondary is going to be good. And I took Rob Orch's at his word when he said there were no coverage busts and he thought they looked really good in the secondary the first half of the spring game. And I think the secondary is going to be good. It's just, you know, when teams decide they want to go 2 tight ends, Nebraska's going to have to, you know, rock and roll. It's not going to be easy. I mean, it's the Big Ten. Nothing is easy from here on out. That's part of the excitement of being in a good league like that, is that you can't really take a week off. You might be able to take a week off once a year in the Big Ten, but not very often. And so Nebraska's going to have week after week after week. They're going to have to you know, pack a lunch.
That's Sam McKEWON, Omaha World Herald. Sam, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Good convo, guys. Take care.
Sam.
That is Sam McKEWON from the Omaha World Herald. I will say, you said, hey, they haven't done that in a decade. We'd be doing cartwheels down Bourbon Street. You know, we just accomplished something in the football program that they hadn't done in a decade, and nobody cares.
Yeah, I know.
And that's finished above 500 for 2 consecutive years.
And Jeff, I'm not down on you. I just think it's really, 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 really disingenuous.
Super different. Football to basketball, super different. Like, it could not be more different. I don't know what to tell you. It just is. Also, like, you're not.
It's one of the number one things that frustrate me.
Yeah.
It's, well, look, basketball did it. You guys knock it off. You didn't want to see it happen. We were clamoring for Coach Hoiberg to be fired.
Also,
he persevered through the nonsense because he was allowed to. Listen to what I'm telling you. This is 100% facts over feelings. We're not afforded the luxury to just look at the end game and say, oh, why can't they be basketball? You only get to say, oh, why can't they be basketball if you're willing to be as patient as you were with basketball. Stop comparing the two. Like, it's disingenuous.
You know the other thing basketball had?
Hang on.
Go ahead.
The other thing is
We didn't even like the roster. We bitched and moaned and we cried. The roster's not good enough. We got boat raced by A&M. They were too athletic. The short-term memory you guys use because you're in your feels versus talking about what's actually happened, it kills the vibe. It's why we can't cross-promote sports, because we hunker down and say, see, look, we avoid all the little details in the middle that matter. Why do you think Coach Hoiberg and Coach Rule are so tight? Right? He's one of the few coaches, not named Coach Manning or Coach Cook, that got invited to a very small, quaint New Year's Eve deal. Coach Hoiberg was there. They rock with one another. Coach Rule was at Nebraska's games, and we get mad that he's going to support his guy. They have some similarities in terms of perseverance. What we like to do, because we eat our own, is we compare and contrast and we say, why not? Because for all Coach Hoiberg's last 3 years of success, we were almost right back to square one after they got boat raced by A&M. And I'm not misremembering how you guys felt about the roster this year. There were questions in the offseason. The staff knows it. We're afforded this, oh, hey, look, we did it. Why can't football just be the same? Like, if you want to use it the same, then at least understand the perspective on how you felt about it. Real time matters. We're not afforded the luxury to just go back and say, oh, hey, look at the finished product. Hey, do that. Mm-hmm. Do that. Because, again, I remember what was said after the A&M game. I remember when he put this roster together. And then you know what we did after we watched it play out? Oh, man, behind the scenes, this is so much more that's going on than just their actual players. We will never allow ourselves to do that with football. We wouldn't. So, listen, I'm not saying that football is going to turn it around. I'm not saying anything about football except we're real disingenuous about how we use the basketball comparison, because we're not being honest with ourselves. We're not. We're not being honest. And I don't know, man. I mean, no, again, Jack, losing 21-17 versus 44-0. Don't be distracted by the actual number. I'm talking about the sentiment when we want to use it as a comparison. When we want to use basketball to football, like, why do we do that to ourselves as a fan base? And we let ourselves as the fan base off the hook because we conveniently don't hold ourselves accountable or remind ourselves how miserable we were in the process until basketball looked the way we wanted it to. Like, you just waited it out. Like, I don't understand that. Like, it drives me. It's like, see, we look for a way to be upset about what's going on, and we hide behind the guise of, man, it's not. No, that's not what he's. No, can't listen. I certainly don't need you to talk for me. Like, I'm not talking about the excuses part. I'm not. The one thing about you is you hear what you want to hear. It has to be validated by the way you think. I'm just giving you the facts. You cannot argue or disagree with the fact that it's apples to oranges based on the emotional sentiment that's associated with both sports. Mm-hmm. Like, that is just not real debatable. It's just not real debatable. That's what makes this year so critical, because if he doesn't show signs of progress, you don't give yourself the luxury or the grace to get older, mm-hmm. to put the roster together, to have all the little behind the scenes pieces of. I mean, are you getting a fourth or fifth year player in the program that isn't going to break the bank for NIL, that becomes an all conference caliber player like Sam Hoiberg did in basketball because he's the coach's son, and then we use that as a do what basketball did? Like it just doesn't make any sense. The feelings are fine. Let's just talk facts. I'm not interested in judging if you feel football can turn it around or not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we do this apples to apples thing, and we don't even allow ourselves to be apples to apples with how we think of it as a fan base. Like we just don't.
I think the other thing that's important to remember with men's basketball as well is it's sort of the expectations thing we talk about. The expectations for men's basketball is dramatically lower than it is for football. At least it had been when Fred was going through his struggles.
Dude, they talk about this all the time. Like it's weird. It's this weird affinity that we have to do this.
Like Fred would not have been granted the time he needed if the expectation level had been what it is in other sports.
I'm not even
like it just that's part of the patience. Right? If you want the results that Fred got, you have to have the patience that we gave Fred.
We don't even hold ourselves to the same standard we judge everybody else by. That would be like, that would be like me condemning somebody that like had an affair. Like I don't have the nerve. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like who am I?
Yeah.
People are wild.
Let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk to Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation coming up next. Get a little draft talk. You know, get into it a little bit with Ricky. We've got Jacob Bigelow coming up at 9:30 as well to talk some hoops. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be right back here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
March into savings with Edwards Kia's March Mania lease special. Lease the 2025 Kia 4 EX starting at just $209 a month. A fresh new ride at an unbeatable price. This is what March Mania looks like. March into savings in a big way. Or lease the 2027 Kia Telluride S starting at just $499 a month. Don't wait. March into savings right now at Edwards Kia.
The run felt great, of course, especially in front of all the fans. You know, it was my first long run in Memorial Stadium, so it was just great to get that. It was a 17, so it was just outside zone to the right. At first, I really didn't see anything, but as my coach tells me, I just kept pressing the aiming point, and then it just opened up, cut underneath, and after that, just got to win the foot race, and I did that, so yeah, it felt great. My mentality was just getting in here and work, especially me graduating early. It really helped me. I could get in, learn the plays, learn everything, you know, get some coaching points, because I know coming from high school to college, it's more technical. Got to work on like my steps, my hands, certain things like that, so really just get in here and just work as hard as I could.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
10 seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball, and who better than this guy? Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it out. UConn goes in front. Utterly impossible.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation. Ricky, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
We are hanging in there, man. You got a lot going on, which is one of the reasons. Like there's the Final Four, the Elite Eight, what's been going on in March Madness, and then there's the draft, which is gonna be fascinating. And I kind of want to start right there and tie it back into what we're seeing. How much of what you were thinking draft wise can we make linear comparisons between what we've seen happen with the Acuffs, the Flemings, the Wogglers, the Braden Burries, who's flying below the radar? When you're looking at drafts basis versus what's happening in college basketball, how much will the tape matter, do you think, Ricky?
Yeah, I think it's only natural for there to be risers and fallers during March Madness. The first example that comes to mind for me as someone who's been doing this for a long time is Davion Mitchell back in 2021, who rose way up the draft board into a top 10 pick when Baylor won the national championship. He's had a pretty good career in the NBA. I guess he's maybe hasn't produced like a top 10 pick should. I'd also throw out DeAndre Hunter, who went way up the draft board after Virginia's national title run. So I think that, it's understandable for teams to put a lot of value into prospect performances in March Madness, since these are spotlight games with a lot of stakes against good competition. With that being said, I think that at this point, mostly teams take in the entire picture of the data, of the tape, of the scouting that they have, even going back to the high school days for a lot of these freshmen. Con Knippel is an example of a player whose high school tape, I think, really sort of solidified him as a top 5 pick, in addition to what he did at Duke. I would also point to his ACC tournament tape last year. So I think that, a lot of these, like the board hasn't changed too much generally. Keaton Wogler's been awesome, but he was a projected top 10 pick, borderline top 5 pick coming into March Madness. I think he's still probably in the same range. Acuff a bit more polarizing, but the guy's just as productive as any freshman guard I've ever seen. So I do think there will be like some slight risers and fallers, but in general, I think that evaluators take in the full picture, not just these last couple of weeks of games.
I want to stick on draft here for a second, because we've had in our group chat quite a few discussions about who we would take number one, what things we value the most. When you look at the group of guys, and not that you may or may not consider any of these guys or some of these guys for number one, but when you look at the group of kind of top 4 guys, it seems like the consensus in some order is DeBonsa, Peterson, Boozer, and then I would add Caleb Wilson in there as the 4th guy. Is there something out of that group of 4 guys that you're looking at and saying, that's the thing I care about the most when thinking about a guy I want to draft first overall?
Yeah, I like Boozer. I've been a Boozer guy from before the season. And I think that, he was the best player in college basketball the whole year. He's the youngest out of all those guys. And I think he has the biggest imprint on winning. Duke's loss yesterday, shocking for many reasons, but one of them is because I was told by someone that Cameron Boozer had not lost the last game of the season since 6th grade. He had won the state championship or the national championship from 7th grade through his senior year of high school. This Duke team I did not think was that good, honestly. Like if you replaced Boozer with an average ACC power forward, I think maybe they finish, 4th or 5th in the conference. And with Cam Boozer, they now end the year with 3 losses by a combined 5 points. It was an incredible team, mostly because Cameron Boozer is a supercomputer, and he can impact the game by making high-level decisions in a split second in a similar way to someone like Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic. Not a totally linear comparison to those guys, but those guys have, let's say, limitations too as players with their athleticism, with, you know, their lack of vertical explosiveness, and Boozer has some of those same limitations. But I just feel like if you give the ball to Boozer, he's going to maximize the efficiency of a possession on a consistent basis, much more than someone like AJ DeBonsa will, or much more than Darren Peterson will, based off what we've seen from Peterson at Kansas. So I'm a Boozer 1 guy. It's been that way the whole year. I feel like he just solidified my choice during this season, despite obviously a wild last game there in the Elite Eight against UConn. And then I've been like torn on DeBonsa versus Peterson at number 2. I think Caleb Wilson's amazing. And big picture, this draft is strong because of the top 4. I have a lot of questions about the guys after 4. Certainly some talented prospects. Those guys may develop into all-stars. But why this is considered a good draft is because 1, 2, 3, 4, those guys are all very, very good prospects.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not necessarily pushback, Ricky, but if I could get a Kingston Flemings or an Acuff or even a Wagler at 9, 10, like, that's pretty good, right? And you can, I think with some of these guys, you can see the immediate impact of how they would be incorporated in today's NBA game. Is there something to be said for that? Maybe not from a depth standpoint, but from how you can assess the talent level, maybe.
Yeah, I think that, you know, those guys definitely exceeded expectations this year and have been awesome. I mean, Acuff, I have been a little bit skeptical of his NBA translation, only because I think he's probably the worst defensive prospect in the class. And if you're going to be the worst defensive prospect, you have to be such a high-level offensive player. And the guy that comes to mind for me, who is just a terrible defensive player in the NBA, but is still a superstar, is Jalen Brunson. And in all the advanced stats, Jalen Brunson essentially grades out as the worst defensive player in the NBA. But it doesn't matter because he's a total killer offensively. I got to say that's a high bar to measure up to, though, if you're Darius Acuff. They're comparing him to Damian Lillard and Jalen Brunson. Like, Lillard's a top 75 player of all time. Brunson is an elite offensive engine, despite the fact that he can't jump over a ruler. So if Acuff can be as good as those guys, then sure, Acuff will be wonderful. But if he's 85% as good as those guys, maybe the defensive limitations come into the spotlight a little bit more. That being said, I'm rooting for Darius Acuff because, man, he is such a cool player, and it was so much fun to watch him go to battle every night with Arkansas this year. Just got to love it. And then Wagler, you know, the feel for the game so high. The shot making off the dribble is incredible. When he gets a switch on a big, it's like showtime. I feel like there should just be a spotlight shining down on him in those moments. You know, he's going to the step back 3. You know, he's going to drain it. Really, really special. I do worry, though, that I feel like he can't beat anyone without a screen. And when I'm evaluating guards, that's what I want to see. Like, he just doesn't have a lot of explosiveness. That's the reason why he was a 3-star recruit. He was the number 150 ranked player in his class by 24/7 Sports entering the year. The old school evaluators will put more stock into that. Now, if it's me, the 3 things I value the most in my NBA draft evaluation: size, smarts, touch. And you could argue he's got all 3 of those. I mean, the size department, he's not very strong. So he's 6'6" for a point guard. That's good. I want to see the wingspan measurement. But yeah, he could be all 3 of those. And so maybe you shouldn't put too much stock into his athletic limitations. But that's just a thing for me. I like to see a guard be able to dust a defender without a screen. I don't think he's got that. So I think he's a little bit more polarizing, but hey, still a good player, might end up being an awesome pro. And his story has been unbelievable in leading Illinois to the Final Four.
So let me ask you something, because I always have to be very careful with this when we do comps and stuff, because I'm afforded the luxury of seeing the finished product versus a college guy that I don't know yet. And Brunson's a perfect example of, I mean, this is still the guy. Maybe it says more about the Mavericks than it does the Knicks, but remember, they could have signed him for cheap before he walked, and he wanted to stay in Dallas. And that was before he was leading his team in scoring, and that was 3 years removed. So would you buy the fact that we have to kind of be guarded with that? But like, if I gave you like a Wagler Jamal Murray or something like that in terms of comps with screens. Because I'm with you. I worry about his athleticism. I worry about nowhere near an elite level handle. Now, he is smart. So I understand the IQ thing, but fit would be important with a guy like Walker. When you're looking at comps, how careful do you have to be with looking at where they were versus where you see them coming out? Because I wouldn't get like the Brunson comp for Acuff. I would give it like more of a Chris Jackson or something like that. But I mean, he's old. But like, where do you go with not the finished product?
Yeah, I think when you're just doing a comp, usually a comp should be a ceiling comp. I think just to like, if everything goes right, he could be this guy. So that's just sort of the way I look at it. I don't put a ton of stock into it, but I think it is helpful for people who aren't as deep into it as me and you.
Yeah.
And maybe just give them a general framework of, what a player could be. So that's how I would do it at first. But to Wagler, what's funny is, all right, so this guy enters Illinois with no expectations. I went to Illinois versus Alabama at the United Center in November. I was very excited to see Wagler because he was just starting to get a little bit of hype. And I thought, wow, this guy's pretty good. Like, he could be like a Cam Christie or a Max Christie type of wing, and maybe he can be a late first-round pick. Well, what changed since then? They moved him from the wing to the point guard. And once that happened, he absolutely exploded. And the game that immediately comes to mind is the Purdue game. When he goes into Mac, he hangs 46 points on the preseason #1 team in the country. Looks absolutely incredible. And basically from that moment, he's been a top 10 pick, and he's been a solid point guard. When, going back to that Bama game in November, he was playing off the ball the entire game. He was really just sort of like a 3-and-D wing. So you do have to take in all the information as you can, because this Illinois team in general, and this Wagler specifically, like, the story has just evolved so much in such a short time. So I think, the comparisons change quickly. The information changes quickly. And that's why the NBA people make a lot of money to make these decisions. But God, he's been unbelievable. And I'm covering the Final Four in India. I've had a credential for a while. I'm very excited to see Keaton Wagler go up against UConn, and I think Illinois is going to win that game. And then I'm excited to see how he matches up against one of those juggernauts waiting on the other side in the national title game should Illinois win.
All right, Ricky, I love comps. I think they're super fun. So
my question to you is based on how he and I always interact.
Yeah.
So that's what that was.
So stop me when I give you a comp that you would fight me on, okay?
Okay.
Cam Boozer is Kevin Love.
It's a good one.
Okay. Darren Peterson's ceiling is Dwayne Wade.
That's a bit lofty based on what I've seen in college, but maybe in high school I would have agreed. So Sure, fine. I'm not going to fight you on it.
I mean, some people were calling him Kobe early in the year, so I had to downgrade him a little bit. So that's where I landed.
Wade's one of the top two. You talking about Wade going to Marquette?
No, I'm talking about like ceiling. If Darren Peterson is who the Darren Peterson believers tell me he is.
Oh my God, Wade is like one of the best.
People were calling him
guards
Kobe this year. People were calling him Kobe this year. All right.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Number 3. We're talking about ceilings. AJ DeBonsa. I'm going to be specific here. Coming out of Syracuse, Mello.
Yeah, not bad. I like it.
This is the one where you might fight me a little bit. Caleb Wilson, Kevin Garnett.
Pretty high praise. I mean, I think Kevin Garnett's one of the greatest players ever. Similar to, the pushback on the Wade comp from your co-host here. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Caleb Wilson's such a unique player. Like, he's getting Giannis comps. I'm like, I don't know about that either. But Garnett, Giannis, those guys to me are in the same world when you're evaluating the all-time greats. So that's maybe a bit high, but I don't have a better one off the top of my head for Caleb Wilson. Just such a high motor, athletic freak. Super fun to watch. KG's 101 though, so I don't love that one, but
fair
game, respect game on where your head's at there.
Last one for me. Darius Acuff, the good version of Stephon Marbury.
Yeah, sick. I love Stephon Marbury as a kid growing up. I think Acuff has a lot of similar traits with him, so I like that one.
Let me go back to, because this is fascinating, and Yaxel drives me crazy. Obviously, we're Big Ten honks here, and I'm a huge press conference dork. I watch coaches. I watch players. I hate the laughing, the delivery. I mean, there's a reason he's 23, going to be 24, still playing. He's a guy that wore costumes at UAB. That aside, is it careful what you ask for when he talks about feeling disrespected, when he gets to see a guy like Koa Pete, who he has to match his juice and how hard Pete plays. First time you get a chance to put his feet to the fire here, do you think, with this kind of matchup?
God, what a good comparison. I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, Yaxel's talking about being disrespected by a freshman guarding him. It's like, bro, you're a month older than Josh Giddey. He's been in the NBA for 5 years. He's literally 1 month older.
You came out with Kuminga.
Yeah. I got to say, though, I'm in the bag for Yaxel. I think he's so sick and so good. And I was around this Michigan team a lot because I covered the Big Ten tournament. So I think I saw him play 3 games in 3 days. And then I covered the Sweet 16 Elite 8 in Chicago again. And I just think Yaxel's an amazing player. Like, you know, you want to talk about length, 7'4" wingspan. That's the length of an NBA center. In terms of guys with a 7'4" wingspan, he's got to be one of the best shooters in the world to be, you know, for a guy that long. In addition to that, he's super duper strong. He can handle the ball like a wing, and his defensive motor is really high. So I really like Yaxel, even though he's old as hell for a college player, and even though he's definitely a bit of a goofball. That's hard for me to evaluate. Like, what do I know about that? You'd have to like get intel from the people who really know him to sort of evaluate his persona. But I do know I've asked his Michigan teammates in the locker room after the Sweet 16 and after the Big Ten tournament, you know, what Yaxel has been like as a teammate. And they have indicated that, you know, part of the reason the team is so loose and doesn't maybe feel the pressure of a single elimination tournament as they continue to move on is because they've sort of taken on Yaxel's demeanor and his personality, which has just been sort of like a fun-loving guy who doesn't take life perhaps the game too seriously. But I just really like Yaxel's game. I'm going to have him much higher than the NBA will. I don't know where he will get drafted because he's so old for his class, but I think he's going to get underdrafted. And I really like his NBA translation. So if the intel comes back bad, though, that would be a new piece of information I would have to consider. I just feel like I can't really accurately make that judgment. So I like his skill set for sure.
All right, let me ask you this, because, you know, we've talked about how this upper echelon of teams played when they were being seeded. It was Florida's size. It was Michigan's size. It was Duke's size. It's Arizona's size. We didn't talk much about three-point shooting, so I'll put that to the side just for a second. In a game like this with Arizona and Michigan, and you're talking about teams playing at their peak, how – I'm a Carolina honk, so I may lack a little objectivity with Cadeau because he's a risk taker. How does Michigan get away with, or how have they gotten away with, out elite level backcourt play when you're going to see the combination of Burries, who might be the most underappreciated player in the country, and a guy like Bradley, who's a tough shot maker, tough shot taker?
No doubt Arizona has the backcourt advantage in that matchup. It's like not even close. The Arizona backcourt washes the Michigan backcourt. The Michigan backcourt has been threatening to derail the season the entire year, I think. And I've seen a couple bad Elliot Cadeau games, and when it happens, you think, well, when Michigan eventually loses in the tournament, it's probably going to be Elliot Cadeau's fault. With that being said, he does at least make a spot up threes now, which was something you couldn't really say for him at Carolina. And his job as a point guard is a little bit easier when he's got 3 NBA first-round picks in the front court for him. But Michigan hasn't seen someone like Krivas on Arizona, who is a complete beast. And in my opinion, Krivas is the best player on Arizona. I don't think he gets the most hype at all, but the dude's 7'2", 260, and just puts a lid on the rim. Elite offensive rebounder, 80% free throw shooter for a guy that big is real impressive too. So I'm really excited to see the battle of the bigs in this Arizona-Michigan game. The old sort of train of thought is that college basketball is a point guard's game. Wins are a point guard stat. And what you want in March is a great point guard. I think this year has changed that narrative, and that college basketball is now a game defined by the big men. And you can point to the 2024 national championship game between Donovan Clingan and Zach Edey, 2 guys who were 7'2", 7'3", 7'4", 300 pounds, whatever they were. And I think that, all sports are copycat leagues. The same way when I was growing up, that the Rams, the greatest show on turf, ran this spread offense with Azair Hakeem in the slot. And then the next year, all the NFL teams wanted to copy it. I feel like that's what's happened in college basketball this season with the bigs, adding an element of smash mouth basketball to the front court. We've seen it with Michigan. We've seen it with Arizona. Florida's success was similar this year. Duke, their two best players are in the front court. So I think college basketball is a big man's game now, just with the changing nature of the sport. Can't wait to see the battle of the bigs, but Arizona has a sizable advantage in the backcourt in this matchup. And if Michigan loses, it'll probably be because their backcourt wasn't good enough.
Ricky, speaking of kind of roster construction here for a second, I one of the things I find fascinating is, we talk a lot about these true freshmen and all of these, as draft prospects and everything else, and especially in the last 10 years or so, maybe a little bit further back, probably 15 years of the one and done era. But I did sort of a deep dive, and if I'm not mistaken, only 3 national champions since freshmen became eligible were led in scoring by freshmen. And so when I look at this, that would eliminate Arizona and Illinois this year.
Yeah.
Which means that leaves you with UConn and Michigan. Is that something? I mean, and it's across eras too. I mean, the first one to ever do it was Syracuse with Melo. And then you had obviously the 2012 Kentucky and 2015 Duke. Those are your 3 true freshman-led leading scorer teams that win national championships. And so I look at that and I go, do I really want to discount Arizona because I do think they are the best team in the country? Or do I look at it and say, hey, maybe moving forward, teams need to build themselves more like Todd Golden did at Florida or Dusty May has at Michigan, as opposed to playing in this deep end of the freshman recruiting pool? And I ask this sort of in the context of who North Carolina hires as their next basketball coach as well.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that college sports are youth sports. And in youth sports, they're sort of determined by age. If you put a 15-year-old playing 8th grade basketball or football, they're probably going to dominate because everyone else is 12 or whatever it is. So it's good to be older. And that's been a trend in college basketball for the last, 4 or 5 years, I would say, specifically once the COVID years started being granted, that all these teams wanted to get older. What has changed this year is it's a really special freshman class. And at the end of the day, what you want is talent. Of course, you'd like your talent to be as old as Yaxel instead of as young as Cameron Boozer, but you want talent at the end of the day. So it's an interesting question in terms of do I trust the older team more? I guess I do trust the older team more just because those players have, learned some hard lessons over the course of their careers that they can apply to these big moments. But, the NCAA tournament just being a single elimination format, a lot of it's just a lucky bounce of the ball and, who's going to get the 50-50 ball, stuff like that ultimately determines the winner. So I think it's hard to make a blanket statement about it. Do I not want to pick Arizona because they have more freshmen or freshmen carrying the scoring load? I don't know. They've been running over teams the whole year. They look like a runaway freight train. So It's hard for me to put too much stock into their youth when they just smash everyone in front of them. All I know is Michigan, Arizona has the chance to be one of the highest levels of play for a college game I've seen in a long time. And Illinois, UConn's going to be awesome too. But I think the winner of Arizona and Michigan is going to win the national championship for sure.
Let me go back to yesterday because we talked about guard play and it's a big man's game and you've got Boozer at 1 and well documented the 7-point lead they blew last year with 30 seconds to go against Houston. This was a monumental collapse as well. And it can't be just as simple as arguably the best coach in college basketball going against Shire, because I do think Shire has great command of his team that may be different than the actual coaching prowess. It's back-to-back years where they've one of the better teams in the country that's not going to play for a championship. What do you do with Duke right now?
Yeah, man. I was thinking about that last night after that game. It's hard to knock Shire too much because he's just won at such a high level. He's also had insane talent.
He wins a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard to knock.
That team last year with Duke, just look at what Knippel's doing this year in the NBA. Like Knippel should easily be the rookie of the year, and Cooper Flagg's like an incredible player and prospect. So they have both those guys and still lose. And I was a Malawatch guy last year.
Me too.
His story's not over yet either. Let's see what my boy Kaman's going to do over these next 5 years. He's still very young, and I think he's talented. Hasn't done much as a rookie, but to not win the national championship with that type of talent, the first thing I would say is like single elimination tournament. Like if it was a best of 7 tournament, Duke probably wins last year. Definitely, I think. And this year, who knows? Like Arizona and Michigan and Duke were just the 3 best teams and a cut above everyone else. But here's the thing I'm really thinking about as it relates to Duke. They're not going to have a Cooper Flagg or a Cameron Boozer next season, even though they have another great recruiting class coming in. Next year's recruiting class just isn't as good as this year's freshman class just throughout the country. So they need to find a star in the transfer portal this year. The Boozers, I assume both Boozers will go, or maybe Caden will transfer out to somewhere else if he gets pushed out. But Gungbo will probably be gone. And I just don't think Duke's going to have a freshman true star next year. So Shire blew it, man. I mean, these were his chances to win the national title. And it's like, all right, he made the Final Four 1 year. That's good. Any other program celebrates that but Duke, basically. And for Shire, it's going to like hang over his head the way they melted down against Houston, against a team with such a comically significant amount of less talent. But it's going to be something that follows him for his career until he wins a natty, basically, because these 2 players, these 2 superstars he's had the last 2 years are just a cut above everyone else, and he still couldn't get it done. And he couldn't get it done with sidekicks as good as Con Knippel the year before. So I don't really know what Duke does with that. And I don't know what Shire does with that, because next year he's not going to have the best player on the floor in every game like he has the last 2 years. And I think he's got a really tough offseason ahead of him. And this is going to hang over him for a long time. And that's the way the sport is. But I will say I'm old enough to remember when those questions were following Jay Wright. Could Jay Wright win the big game back in, the early 2010s, I guess? It's only a question until you answer it. And Jay Wright eventually won 2 national championships. So I don't think that Shire's like necessarily a choker forever, but he blew it with these 2 teams. And that's just the way the sport goes. March is wonderful and it's cruel at the same time, and Shire is definitely someone who came out a loser in those.
Last one for me, Ricky, and this pains me to ask, but considering how much I preach that it's about facts and not feelings, because I like to have a rational sports show, could I make the case as a Carolina fan that Duke did have the toughest 8-9, the toughest 5-4, and without question the best coach on a 2 seed? Could I make that argument?
Yeah, sure. I think that, they had a pretty tough path.
I hate asking it that way. That sucked.
Because I mean, we said this when the bracket got revealed.
No, we only talked about. Yeah, we did. We said the region was
brutal.
tough. But I feel like I need a show.
I mean, I don't think we felt good about them having St. John's in the Sweet 16. I don't think we felt good about Michigan State or UConn on the other half. Like that was a tough. The East was rough.
Totally. I fully agree with that. I said that once bracket was announced too, of course. God, how did they lose that game yesterday, though? They were in control the entire game. I think that UConn only led like 2-0, and then they didn't lead the rest of the game.
Yeah.
In the live ball turnovers for Duke, just insane, man. And unfortunately, a lot of them were on the Boozers. So that's more information to factor into their, draft projection maybe, or how much you want to, if you want Caden to be your starter next year at Duke, like does Duke feel comfortable with that after how their season ended this year? A lot of questions for John Shire to answer. I think Duke definitely got a tough run, but they should have won that game yesterday. Like, yeah, they got a tough draw, but still, you're in the Elite Eight. You're up 10 with 6 minutes left. Like, win the game. Or Shire, like, you need to execute better down the stretch. Have your team hold the ball instead of advance the ball, and you win the game. Like, so I think Shire deserves some heat. I do. He's done a good job in general. It's crazy. He's younger than I am. Like, he's very new to this. He could be Duke's head coach for 25 years. But
anytime you're in the same Wikipedia line as Brad Stevens in total wins in 5 years, like probably pretty okay at what you do.
Yeah, as a Carolina fan, I assume you would love if Duke fired John Shire, if John Shire took an NBA job.
Yeah, listen, I'd be all in. Like, I'd be tickled. But again, I can't believe we just talked about this last week. This is before we knew this was going to happen. But they just get different 4 and 5 stars than everybody else in the country. There's just Duke guys. At Duke, do you have to be a Duke guy to get it?
Yeah, I think that's Nike. That's Nike money, and Duke is the signature Nike program. And it was especially the case when Coach K was coaching Team USA, and the whole Nike, pipeline was hot back then. And they had Jason Tatum on those, U15 and U16 teams that I watch every summer, way back in the day. And just that pipeline goes to Duke, and then you go to the NBA, and then you go to Team USA, and it's all sponsored by Nike. And I think, there's something there in terms of how that happens. But you know what? They got a top-ranked kid next year named Cam Williams. He looks like a good prospect. I don't really have a ton of takes on him right now. My only take is that he is not in the same universe as Cooper Flagg and Cameron Boozer. So Duke's got a lot of work cut out for him next year because they don't got the best player on the floor in every game like they have the last 2 years, and they still couldn't win a natty.
Real quick, then we'll let you go. If you're making the hire at Carolina, who are you signing?
Man, great question. I would look. I guess, the first name that comes to mind that's like pretty realistic that they could do is Mark Byington at Vanderbilt. And I would try to get Tyler Tanner with him, his star point guard, who could go to the NBA draft this year. But if he comes back to college next season, should be, probably the best guard in college basketball next year, I would think. So I would sort of like that as a package deal. Give me Tyler Tanner, give me Byington. And I think that he has done really well in turning Vanderbilt, that has, very little hoops history recently, into an awesome team this year that, should have gone to a Sweet 16 if that half-court heave didn't bounce out, maybe because of an overinflated ball. You guys can debate that. But so Byington's the first name I would think. But I think you got to make Nate Oates say no. Like, I think Nate Oates is an incredible coach, and what he's done at Alabama is ridiculous. And then I'd go for Billy Donovan too. Why not? Like, I'm in Chicago here as a Bulls fan. The Bulls are a pathetic loser franchise that is not going anywhere ever. So why would Billy Donovan at 60 years old want to continue to tie himself to a sinking ship? I think that Donovan is likely to exit the Bulls after this season. Will he take a year off? Could he maybe pursue a front office job? Will he really go back to college? I don't know. I assume he probably doesn't really want to go back to college. So you'd have to make him a really sweet offer, not just in terms of the money that you're giving him, but like the setup of like, oh, here's your front office that you're going to work with to identify players. Here's a big NIL budget for you to get the guys they want. But I think Donovan's a really good coach, even though the Bulls are trash. And I think that Mark Byington would be good.
I mean, how bad you got to be when you don't know how to tank?
Mark Byington would be good too. So those are a couple guys off the top of my head.
Carolina connection with Byington. I don't want Byington is fine, but just kind of down the road.
He's the same one. Byington's a safety school.
I do think, Ricky, maybe this is just wishful thinking. When Jordan's Gulfstream landed last week, when he flew in, it was, we just need about $54 million total for the NIL and either Lloyd's buyout or I think just Lloyd, but they're going to put some money on the table to match a coach's buyout, because I think their guy will still be a guy that currently has a job.
Yeah.
I think they want to be able to go to the table if they need to.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to be Nate Oates. I'd take Golden, and I would take. Listen to me. I would take.
I'd take a national championship caliber coach,
and I wouldn't mind Tommy Lloyd, who I hope wins a national title.
Those would be great hires for North Carolina. I think back in the day, any of those coaches would jump to North Carolina. I just wonder, it's a new era in college basketball, and I even wonder, like, Oates. Like, you said you don't want Oates. That's cool. I like Oates. I think maybe an NBA team should go after Oates as well. But is it even a better job than Alabama, which is crazy to ask? It's Alabama basketball. Who cares about Alabama basketball? But they give you money. They're always going to get players. They're going to get talent. That's the way it works down there. So it's just such a rapidly changing sport these days that I think a lot of people have to readjust their expectations. And I would not be surprised if a lot of Carolina's top options tell them no, the same way Kentucky's top options told them no a few years ago when they eventually hired Mark Pope. It's going to be tough, but fascinated to see what Carolina does with this decision.
Ricky, appreciate the time. We will catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you, buddy.
That's Ricky O'Donnell for SB Nation. Real quick break here, then we'll get to Jacob Bigelow, talk some college hoops with him as well. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. Let's Hurrdat Sports Live.
March into savings at Edwards Chevrolet. Lease the 2026 Chevrolet Silverado RST starting at just $489 a month with 0 down and first payment due at signing. This is what March savings looks like. Or lease the 2026 Chevrolet Trailblazer LS starting at just $289 a month with 0 down and first payment due at signing. Get to Edwards Chevrolet today. Together, let's drive. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Chevrolet GMC.
Yeah, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. It was actually funny. We had a practice the other day, and we're at the 5-yard line, and I told Coach Drew, I was like, just make me live. And he made me live for one play, but then we handed the ball off, so it really didn't mean anything. But and that happens with all the quarterbacks, right? Like when you break a run, they call you down 10 yards when you shoot the guy wasn't even near you, right? But no, it is what it is, though. No, I feel like the wind's good, right? When you're with the wind, shoot, it's nice the ball goes farther, but we've been practicing in the wind shoot for like 10, 12 practices. We've been outside, and it's been good, but it really hasn't been that crazy.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Jacob Bigelow to talk a little hoops. Jacob, what's going on, man? How we doing?
Uh-oh. Can you hear us okay? Little volume.
Got to unmute your mic there, Jacob.
Oh, it's muted.
Do we have him?
Nope, not yet.
There he is. I've done this. My fault. Been a little while, you know. Had to get the dust off the camera and the microphone. It had been a little bit.
Hey, would you buy for what kind of would you swap jerseys, or are you good with yours versus ours?
I like mine. Yours is good though. I like that one, but
you're not pro, brother. Come on, man.
DB, I went to Central. I'm all about that. Like I'm not opposed to any of that by any means, but I got some sentimental attachment to this one too. So
oh shoot, starts off with a bang. With a bang. Hey, how we doing, man? Have you had your hoops? There's no way you've had your hoops, Phil. Where are you with your hoops, Phil, so far with this Final Four looming?
I love this Final Four, man. I don't think I've had my fill yet, but between just that Arizona Michigan game alone, I love those two teams. They've been fun to watch all season. From the coaching side, you got May, Lloyd, Hurley. Say what you will about him, and then I've had to eat a little crow on Brad Underwood this year. I will fully admit that I've had to eat some crow on my thoughts on Brad Underwood, but that team, Illinois is finding a way to win my heart just with how not media trained that entire roster is. They keep saying just the most out of pocket things anytime a mic is in front of them. And that's mostly just David Mirkovich, but the rest of that team is pretty out of pocket too. Like that clip of him just trying to rip the net off the rim instead of like cutting it down. And Boswell's just like, what the hell is wrong with you, dude? Like, what is wrong with you? So they're finding ways to win me over, but I'm really looking forward to this Final Four.
Ravi had to eat some crow on Underwood too. He just won't use a knife and a fork. He's going to choke on it the whole way going down.
There's still time.
Just all out on Underwood, and all that guy's done is win games.
No, he's done a better job with this roster than I thought he would have. I also think I guarantee would not be able to take truth serum and tell you that he thought Keaton Wagler is what Keaton Wagler turned out to be. So I don't really know what to do there either. In terms of just like, you got to get a little lucky. That certainly helps. But I also, he turned over some actual coaching responsibilities to, other people on the staff as well. So who knows?
He was talking up Wagler like at the start of practice, though. Like, you got to give him that. Like in October, he was like, "We've had one and dones in this program these last couple of years, and Wagler is right there." Like he was saying that early. So I got I'll give him credit for that.
14 minutes against.
I was gonna say I understand
UConn in November.
I understand what he said. I also understand what the minutes said and what position he was playing until Boswell got hurt. So I take it all with a grain of salt.
Oh, as you should. I mean, on the Wagler thing, it's no coincidence. Like, people will talk about he had no offers, he had no interest, but the two guys that were in on him early were Nico Medved and Ben McCollum. Those two guys know a thing or two about about players and what it takes to win. So I think it's no coincidence those two guys were in early, and then Illinois just happened to come calling.
All right, JB. Well, stay with the Final Four just for a second. When every team is playing at their best, rank them for me.
Arizona, Michigan, Illinois, UConn.
Okay, that's me right on.
Rank the coaching prowess 1 through 4.
Oh, you start with 4.
Yeah, Underwood's 4. Sorry, Brad. And then
who's 1? It's got to be easy, right?
It's Danny. And then it's Danny. I think it's Danny, Tommy, Dusty May, Underwood.
Interesting.
You think most people would have Dusty May 3rd?
I think most people would have May 2nd.
I think so.
I think they'd go Danny.
I think Tommy
Dusty,
Lloyd's better than he gets credit for.
Tommy, Brad. I think.
And that's no slight to Dusty May. Like I've by association have been in similar circles with some American American conference people who think the world of him, think the world of how he does his business. And he also shared a senior day at Indiana with a former coworker of mine and Coach Lewis. And I've talked with him about like, did you ever see this coming for Dusty? And they're like, he was like, not this soon. Like he had it, but he's, that's no slight to him at all. It's just there's a lot of good coach talent in this Final Four. And I think, I've said this in recent weeks, like this college basketball season has been, proof of how much coaching still matters, especially in college basketball, in my opinion.
When you're taking a look at, is there a world in which would you be shocked if the national champion did not come from the Michigan-Arizona game?
I'd be pretty surprised. Yeah. I mean, because I think those two teams at their best are a cut above the other two. So that's what makes it hard to see, especially UConn. I don't like Arizona and Michigan when they're at their best. I mean, those are wood chippers. There's no stopping those two when they're at their best. I worry about your guy Cadeau against Arizona's guards. I think Burries and Bradley are going to be in his nightmares all week, like leading up to those games. But I think it would be pretty stunning to me if Arizona or Michigan isn't your national champ.
I will say this about Cadeau, and it's a lot like Boswell. He is deceptively strong, where he's got heavy hands. He's got a good build, but I just think the foot, he's going against an elite level IQ in Burries and an elite athleticism in Bradley. Like Bradley's gear and gears. I don't even know how Michigan simulates that, because that's not how they play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the big guys, like the wings and big guys in that game, like there might be like some seismic activity with those guys like banging into each other inside and going, trying to get to the rim. But I think the backcourt is what's gonna decide that one. And I've worked. My thing with Michigan all year would be that Cadeau would be their undoing when it mattered most, and that was before the Kaysen injury, and now that's just kind of just waiting for that shoe to drop. And I think going up against Burries and Bradley is, I think that's probably what's going to decide the game for Arizona, in my opinion.
When you were looking at what the fatal flaws for Duke were coming into the season or into the tournament, I guess, how much did that line up with what ended up being their undoing yesterday?
My question with Duke is always going to be Shire. And I'm not going to go scorched earth on him like some people are today, like calling him a choke artist and calling him whatever. But also at the same time, John Shire's not the reason that somebody tried to throw it over the top of two defenders, instead of just holding the ball to get fouled. Like that's you can't, there's only so much you can do.
Either booster had the opportunity to get fouled.
The first two guys who had the ball could have easily just held on to it and gotten fouled. But with Duke, it just felt like, and this is not just like the Siena game, it felt like aside from TCU, they were just kind of in survival mode. Like they were just surviving for so many of those games. And it's like we're going to fight, scrap, and claw. And we're just that's what the NCAA tournament's about at the end of the day. But for those two results to go the way they did in back-to-back years with that Houston game and then this year, there's going to be some questions about Shire. There's no question he can, that he can go into any living room in America and win somebody over. He was K's closer for the end of his era. He was the big game hunter. And guys love him. Guys love playing for him. His story is incredible. Like they went home to Chicago and people were putting up signs that said, "Welcome home, White Mike. Happy to have you back, White Mike." Like his story is incredible, but it's just his in game where the most questions arise for me. And it's just, teams folding under pressure. Like it's tough for me to not look at the guy at the front of the bench.
The guy affectionately known as Mr. Biggs in my phone, Jacob Bigelow. Always stretching big in his podcast. Biggs, let me ask you something. I want to go back to Nebraska and the season they had, because I know you're not a huge fan of gatekeeping. The more the merrier, hop on board. But I also know you're a bit of a purist, too, with all the relationships you've established from these guys. Were you embracing, how were you feeling as you're listening to scouting reports, the fan base grow, the level of excitement? How were you balancing all that?
It was quite the balancing act, man. It was very interesting. I was getting sent plenty of tweets, plenty of podcast clips, plenty of all sorts of hey, what do you think about this? Okay. In a past life, I would have had some thoughts, but it was interesting because at the end of the day, I think there's no better way to encapsulate it than the lead up to that Troy game. The divide of people who are like, Troy may be a problem. Troy could be an issue. Look at this team. They could be a problem. I had people trying to say that I said Troy was going to be a problem because I shared thoughts from a coach that played them. I wasn't just looking at their KenPom page and calling that analysis. Right? What'd you say?
Isn't that kind of your closet conference?
It kind of is, yeah. A little bit. I will dabble in some Sunbelt from time to time. But I mean, there's no that's the perfect encapsulation of what this year was like. Like people would say, like, "Hey, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna analyze Troy." You're not analyzing Troy. You're just reading Ken Pom. Like that's not analysis. That's just reading comprehension. There's no like. That's not like that's. That was where it was at for me. I was never really worried about Troy, and I think that's kind of the perfect summation. But I also don't want to gatekeep. Like I know there are people who are going to see me on this show, and they're like, "He's here to say give all the money to basketball and give nothing to football and all that." Like that's not me. That's not where I'm at. But it was quite the balancing act, especially for the last few months of the season, when people were calling regular season games in January the biggest game in program history. Like that was like that's another example.
Are you okay with the evolution of being okay with Coach Hoiberg as a guy that was a staunch defender?
I am.
We hated on like that's the part I need to probably grow up, right? Because we said a lot of bad things about Trev and the poor poverty franchise program, and we settled and didn't get enough money, and like I had a tough time with that.
I kind of did too. I mean, the one Trev thing I'll say is, I mean, if you want to look at what happens to basketball programs when he leaves, look at Omaha, look at Nebraska. There's two for two there. If you want to, touch on that. But I mean, I won't I texted you this a little bit ago when y'all were talking about this. Like there were fans ready for a change. And January of 2023, I was told by someone in the coaching industry, "Hey, do you know Nebraska is like calling agents right now?" And we're 3 years in the past, so I have no shame sharing this. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And they're like, "Yeah." Two guys have the same agent, so his phone is ringing off the hook, and it's people asking for, would you be interested in Nebraska? And this was in January of 2023. And that next month, the guy whose jersey's hanging behind you, in that exact jersey, as a matter of fact, goes on a heater and saves that. And they scratch back to 500, and that's how that season ends. But yeah, we are kind of quick to forget where things were, and I'm not gonna,
What was it after A&M for you?
It was like this is a learning lesson. Like this is a measuring stick of like what it's gonna take. Like you got here, you fell short. Like what's the I wasn't talking about like they need to get more athletic, they need to look like an SEC team, but that was a measuring stick for me. And it's the next year the roster construction going into last year, like I mean, you think people felt some way about the team before this year? How about last year when they had Braxton Mia, at the elbow for handoffs, like trying to cosplay as Mast, like
this year.
Yes, and like they've maxed. I mean, the biggest thing, and I'm not here to compare basketball to football, but this is not where I'm going, but like the credit to Fred and to that staff is for maximizing. It's for maximizing this team this year, getting the most that they could have gotten out of that team. And that's where I'm at when it comes to, the credit to him. But I'm with you. Like we forget where things were and we forget how things felt. And it's, like fans had felt some type of way and people behind the scenes at Nebraska did too. And then things changed in a heartbeat.
So I'm going to ask you this. I kind of talk to DB about this sometimes, but how do you kind of balance not wanting to gatekeep from people experiencing Nebraska basketball that maybe weren't that invested before, and you're like, hey, the more the merrier, versus people who are new to the scene wanting to be taken as experts without having put the work in?
That's a good question.
You better chill.
That's an excellent question.
Do your thing here, Jacob.
No, I'm not. I know where you think that's gonna go, but it's not where I'm gonna go. Like,
all right.
like for consumers, like if you're looking to like learn about the sport you're watching and learn about the players you're watching and learn about the sport you're watching, because that's how I feel about sports coverage in general. Like, I want to learn more about the sport. I want to learn more about the people. I don't just need I've been here for 30 years, so I know what I'm talking about. This is my opinion on things. It needs to be gospel. Like, that's not how I want to, consume sports media. I want to learn about the sport. Mm-hmm. I think there are people in media who want to, they will admit, like, I got in this because of football, but I want to learn. I want to get better. Like, I had people asking me, like what analysis do you think people, like, what do you think people would, what do you think would be beneficial to talk about for this game? And what do you think would be like the most educational? Like, and that was something that is, that's real, but you don't have to try to sound like you're the most intelligent person on something that most people know you're not that intelligent on, just for the sake of sounding intelligent. And that's what I'd say to people. But I would also say there's plenty of folks out there who the way they go about their content, telling stories, and the way they see the game, you can learn the sport, you can learn the people, and you can become better educated about it, even if this was your first season, catching the fever of a college basketball season.
This will be the first year ever that Nebraska will have to manage success on a national level, whether it's financial commitment, whether it's whatever, where there's, okay, now what? Sweet 16 has always been the line of demarcation, I think, for coaching prowess and for programs. Where are you with what you think they're capable of long-term relative to how good the Big Ten Conference is?
I mean, I don't think they're going to be a top 4 team every year, but I think they can be a perennial NCAA tournament team. I think they're playing meaningful games in February and March, and they can be either on the bubble or slightly above it most of the time in normal years, and there can be years where they're a cut above. I don't know how many more years the stat of since they joined the Big Ten, they've either been in the bottom 4 or the top 4 and nowhere in between. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I think there's they can be an NCAA tournament team. They can be in the neighborhood of like a 6 or a 7 most years, I think. And, maybe there'll be, I'm not expecting the Sweet 16 every year. I don't think I don't think anyone is in their right mind. But for a program that up until a couple weeks ago was walking around with a scarlet letter on its chest of having never won an NCAA tournament game, that's not there anymore. And my thing all year had been, you just got to get that scarlet letter off your chest. You have to get the stench off of the program, like for people who aren't here and people who just, that's the first thing they think of when they think of Nebraska basketball. And I think kind of the possibilities are endless. Like it could be, the foundation is there, and it's just a matter of, how you feel like upgrading the house on top of the foundation and the upkeep going forward.
And I think sometimes we talked a little bit about this with football in terms of actual player expenses and NIL. A lot of it we discount as in assistant coaching salary pools as well. I mean, I felt like the Big Z flew under the radar. Coach Lenzer, everyone talked about. I mean, his phone has to ring incessantly. How much of financial commitments include your coach's pool in your mind? And is it as significant as I think it is in football?
I think it's pretty significant. Yeah. I think staffs matter. And I'm not saying Nebraska basketball is UConn basketball, but I'm going to make this like Danny Hurley's a damn good coach, but so is Luke Murray. And so is Kamani Young, and so is
guys get calls.
And guys get calls. I'm still shocked. Boston College is the job that got Luke Murray to jump. Like after all the years of his name being thrown around, like that's the one that got him out of there. But I think there's a lot of it there. And I think like the staff, like there's a credit to Fred, obviously, for steering the ship and being the head coach, but a lot of credit goes to the staff for turning it around and the impact that those guys have had. I mean, you said it about Ernie. I think he's flown under the radar these last couple of years. There's been a lot of love for Coach Lenzer, who is the last person to want any sort of attention or any sort of, congratulations. But there's a lot. It's like the people matter. The people are important, from top to bottom. And I think, Nebraska's staff has been very much aligned and very high level these last couple of years. And that's a part of why they've been able to maximize. So to answer your question, yeah, it's pretty high.
You know what I think it was about Boston College for Murray? And I don't think he's going to try to find the next Michael Adams or John Bagley or Dana Barros. Who else? Troy Bell.
Big Dana Barros guy.
Barros got buckets. Do you know what I think it is? He crushes that part of the country. Mm-hmm. He understands the recruiting landscape. And I think a lot of it is familiarity, and he's in the ACC. So it's like, okay, it's kind of a meddling conference. It's the least highly thought of the major conferences. Maybe he can fly under the radar with expectation levels for a second because he's smarter than what's going to be expected of him. Sometimes guys sneaky do that.
Yeah, I mean that I could definitely see that. I mean, I think the world of him. I've only been able to talk to him once in person, and it was when I was standing on a baseline at Millard North with Coach Hunter, and he happened to be there too. So that was the introduction I got. You want to talk about, quite the trio, watching Hunter Sallis play, me, Luke Murray, and Coach Hunter. But I think the world of him, and I know how highly he's thought of in coaching circles. So, I never in a million years thought I would have any care to give about Boston College basketball, but I'll have some interest with him at the helm next season.
That's just he's a big Jared Dudley guy, so he thinks that Murray's gonna be looking for the next Jared Dudley at Boston College.
Needed those Suns games to get the Jared Dudley.
Hey, wash your mouth out. You got to deal with Padilla.
Yeah, I was gonna say a guy with my name and my birthday might feel some type of way about that comment you just made. So I don't know.
I'm not sure Jacob's gonna ride for Dudley.
No, I think he's kind of out on how he played for him.
Listen, I will say I will pound the table for a difference on Boris Diaw, though. That's my guy.
Hell yeah.
You stay close, man. We're gonna keep you connected.
Of course. No, I mean, I'm always here to talk. I appreciate you bringing me on. And I've been having to tell people for the last year, because everyone just assumes I hate Nebraska football, that two of the people who are the happiest to talk to me are you and Foreman. So I'm like, something must not align if you and Foreman love seeing me and talking to me. So the math ain't mathing there. But thanks for having me, y'all. It was good to talk.
My dude. Appreciate it, JB.
That's Jacob Bigelow. You can listen to him on the Stretch Big on his writing, and you can go check him out on Twitter as well. He's got a Substack you can subscribe to. Good stuff there from Jacob. He's very knowledgeable.
Yeah. He loves his sport.
I wasn't trying to trap him.
Fetty Wap Lulla. I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello.
The question I asked him is something I struggle with.
I know. I appreciate you wanting to get somebody else's perspective on how they deal with it, because I know it's hard for you.
It is really hard for me because there are certain things and when I don't know something, I'm usually pretty quick to ask questions and try and learn. Right?
Or you'll say this may be a dumb question, but
might be a dumb question, or I'll admit hey, I'm not going to pretend like I am an expert on X, Y, and Z, whatever. And then just kind of give whatever take I have from the information I do have. The thing that I really, really struggle with is when someone hasn't been dialed in on something, and then 3 weeks later, because that something has become popular, they try and be an expert in it. And you can tell when they're reading box scores or reading Ken Palm, like Jacob said, or whatever. Listen,
that's about us.
It's pretty dead on, but I admitted to you, part of the reason I went and watched 4 consecutive Troy games was because I had to do a selection show. I didn't know anything about Troy, and I felt like an idiot, and I was embarrassed. So I went and I fixed it. Yeah. And guess what?
Who knew more? Wait, you were mad that you had to take it back? Was that
no?
Were you with Austin?
It wasn't that I had to take it back. See, it's that I didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh,
I was doing the thing that I don't like because all I had was to look at Ken Palm because I hadn't watched Troy since the USC game in November.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I go, I don't know anything about this team. I feel like an idiot. I don't like the way I feel right now. By Monday morning, which was like 12 hours later, I was like, I'm going to know what I'm talking about. And so, like, I don't have a problem with people that are new to something becoming experts, but you got to put a certain level of work in. And that is something I struggle with because I sat here for 4 days trying to tell people what Troy was and wasn't. And people kept trying to tell me what Troy, and I was like, have you actually watched a Troy basketball game this year? Because the only reason I was able to find it is because I'm a weirdo and I record literally everything.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Did you see Austin?
Yes. A lot of
Well,
people,
I just remember I was like,
I wasn't mad at Austin. I was mad
felt,
at me.
I felt like I put pressure on you. And I was like, dude, are you good? Like, you didn't have to stay up doing that. And you're like, no, I'm pissed because I felt like an idiot yesterday.
Yeah, it was on me. And listen, there's some stuff
and that's going to get you, though. Like, who knows Troy?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to get caught, but I knew. Like, nobody's going to catch me and be like, Ravi, actually, I watched every Troy game this
Austin,
year.
if I told you how crabby he was Monday morning, I was like, well, that's probably because I've been up watching Troy all day. I was like, sorry, dude.
Yeah, no, it wasn't because, like, listen, there's sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you. There's sometimes I feel pressure. I was like, I need to watch this because DB's going to watch it and he's going to ask me about it. But that wasn't it for Troy. Troy was because I was mad at myself.
No Big Ten rowing.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and you're also not a loser like me. Like,
well, you also know, like, if I didn't watch them,
I'm not. Yeah, and I'm not going to rock with it either. I'm not going to try to make you put you in a bad spot.
I'm going to be like, DB, there's like, I did not watch that. You know, I didn't.
As you famously said, no. Why would I watch that? Sorry, man. I gave Kyle Crooks a hot take. Suave, you ready for this? Super hot take. He looked at me like I was pretty special. I go, hey, you know UCLA is going to beat UConn when win a national championship. And I almost had to text him and apologize as they were down 14 to Duke yesterday before they decided they remembered how to play basketball. I was like, so much for that hot take.
There you go.
I like UCLA. I do. Is that crazy?
No, they're crazy. They're fantastic. And I cannot wait for UCLA and UConn to meet.
Although I go back to the way, way, way back text strands where I was mad at you for not getting involved when DeMarinis and I were talking about UConn women's basketball. And I was like, well, where the flip you been? He goes, yeah, sorry, bro. I didn't have much to contribute to you and DeMarinis' UConn women's hoops talks. UConn's size is spectacular. Like, just their, and I'm not going to go all women's basketball on you, but
no, you're good.
Just their frames, and UCLA is the one team that I can think of that can actually match it.
Yeah,
they can match up bar for bar. Except, I mean, Betts being 6'7" is
I'm
an outlier.
Really need her to be touched and have collisions. How she's officiated, if it ends up being those guys, it will be fascinating.
If they let her play, I don't see UCLA losing. Like if the whistles aren't touchy.
He's with you.
She's gonna go off. Like watching her play in Lincoln, and they kind of let her play. She's going over people, grabbing boards, and she's got such a nice touch around the rim, and she can step out a little bit and hit like a little bit of a midi closer to the free throw line. Like if they let her play, it's gonna be a problem for UConn.
That's gonna be sensational. And here's the other thing: did you guys know that the total points between the Final Four games and the men's is only 3 points in the spread?
Really?
It's a total of 3 points. Michigan is a slight 1 point favorite. Illinois is only a 2 point favorite.
Wow, Michigan's the favorite over Arizona?
I think most people we think Arizona's the best team in the country. I don't think nationally people feel that.
Okay.
Michigan's always been the darling. Remember, they had the gaudy.
Yeah, they had that stretch.
Kim Pom stats, and it kind of went.
Yeah.
Was when Arizona was like third. It went Michigan, Duke, Arizona, and perception.
Yeah. The guards for Arizona are like, I think they can match.
It can't be that easy. That's what I think, but it has to be something other than that.
So I take it and I go, okay, we've got a team that can actually match up with Michigan size-wise and physicality. And then you've got better guards. I don't know how else to look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it feels pretty simple. It's like, okay, I think the front courts are basically even.
Unless it's about conference strength. I mean, the Big Ten is a better conference.
For sure. The best conference in basketball.
Although at the top, Big 12
was really good at the top,
flipping
but
good.
6 teams in the Sweet 16 is hard to argue with.
Yeah, but they had 6 teams in the top 20 of KenPom in the Big in the Big 12.
Yeah. You can make an argument for the Big 12. I think when you include,
I'm not saying it's a better conference. I'm not. I'm
when
just
you
saying
include
like
height and depth.
Yeah.
I think Big 10 is definitely the best conference in basketball, but I don't know, man. I've seen Arizona play just about everybody, and I think they're better than just about everybody.
Rico, are you excited for the NIT and Crown this week?
Absolutely not.
What would you have made the Rutgers Creighton line?
Oh God. God, I have no idea.
It's only 4.
I just have no sense of who Creighton is on any given day. Like I have no
to this day.
Come on, man. To this day. That's Shane. He's ready to go home.
I know. All right, buddy.
Let's take I can not take a quick break. Let's wrap up the show for today. Don't forget to call our friends over.
You can still answer the question if you want.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
People are trying to get to the Royals home opener today. We got to go.
Give our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical a call, 402-614-9700. Need a little pep in your step, need a little recovery, need a little weight loss, need whatever it is. They got you covered. They care about your whole health, not just trying to get you prescribed something. They want to make you feel like the best version of yourself, and that's what they do. 402-614-9700. Give them a call today. That's Next Gen Male Medical. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back tomorrow with more Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.